Hold on. How's it going, people? Where am I re-synced here? I need to... How are you all doing? So, as you can see, my wardrobe crew forgot the iron. Maybe having words with them. So before I get into any of this, I just want to notify people that Des Sheeps and Neeps is coming to the end of his life, and anybody that's been following this community or questioning, if you like, would know who Des Sheeps and Neeps was, and obviously the battle that has been ongoing with him over the last few months. Unfortunately, it's he's going to lose that battle as far as I'm aware, and the family are looking for anybody who can support, you know, funding a funeral for Des. So again, I'm just going to appeal to people, if there's anything you ever wanted to donate here, anything that you can, please support it, and send your donations in. I'm going to put a link, there's a link in the description under this, and I'm also going to stick it into that chat box. Just hold on a wee second here. And obviously once the bike sells, I'll be donating a couple £100 myself. So anyway, no good. So if you can show support, please do so. Also, I mean, Anne Flyer female, wonderful news that she's managed to overcome adversity and seen through her experience of having a cancer. So awesome news for Anne. Unfortunately, it's not always the case for everybody, but hey ho, there's a bigger picture going on. It's certainly not the end yet, so people don't need to get all down in the dumps about it, and start expressing that fear again. As far as I'm concerned, you know, you're part of the infinite, part of the eternal. It's nothing to worry about. Okay, so just a transition from one form to another. So anyway, if you're new to this and the first time you're coming across it, there are people here who are questioning, you know, what science is and some of these claims that are being offered to us in regards to who we are and, you know, our existence, where we are, where we've come from, where we might be going. And that is the questions that solely that I'm invested in. I always have been a questioner of who am I and where is this place, what is this place. I've always maintained an inquiring mind. So I encourage everybody else to maintain that. Also, before we get any further, remember that you are the sole power of your being. You are the one that's operating this sophisticated machinery that you call the body and the brain. It's up to you to file things properly, to discern and take in information properly, and figure out what is stacking up as being objectively true and what is not. Always remember that you are the sole authority on what you take on board, what you buy into, and what you place your attention on. Okay? And if you're placing your attention willfully or unwillfully, it's one and the same thing. You're still responsible. You are the scientist. Nobody else can tell you anything about who you are, where you are, what your existence is, what this place is about, what life is about. Nobody has those objective answers. I'm just one of many people who are holding an honest inquiry into what is being taught to us, what is being offered to us, and what the actual facts are. There is no claims made here to know any of these things, the full dimensions of where we are. We exist in a compartmentalised environment right now. There is restricted areas that you cannot go to, I cannot go to. It is virtually impossible for people who were born into this cult, born in captivity, to ever possibly come up with a full, you know, depiction of where we actually are. That requires exploration. That is what real science should have always maintained. It's an inquiry into what we call the natural world and the substances therein and how they interact and behave with each other. Science should never have been about giving us an existential narrative, trying to sew in agendas that affect your psyche. Okay? that help to mould and conform you into a particular idea and a structure that you were born into. Science is not about that. What's objectively true? How can we know what's objectively true? You can know what's objectively true by having practical experience. You can find out what's objectively true in regards to other people's claims by way of practicality. That being demonstrations of substance, tangible, quantification, measurement of three-dimensional natural phenomena. There is a separation of the sciences that people are confused about. People hold mathematics in a high regard, like it's the answer to everything. It's not. Mathematics is a formal science, it's a language, and it has been classed as a formal science because it is just a language. The sciences that I am interested in are the natural sciences, physics, chemistry, biology. Predominantly right now, physics. How do the substances behave? What can be quantified and actually measured? Mathematics has been used to extrapolate on abstract theories, notions, fantasy. And because the mathematical language works in unison, people think that that somehow means that it's objectively true. You can use grammar, you can use any language to tell a story that is factual, or you can use it to tell a story that is no factual, that's fiction. Mathematics is no different. You can start from base assumptions and you can work your way forward. You first have to prove the base assumptions. So for me, that's what I'm interested in. It's about breaking apart this heliocentric globe model, as it's known, and the absurdities of it. The bar for me is practicality. Always has been, always will be, and it should be for you. No excuses. We do not need language or any of that stuff to muddy the waters. And you're going to find out very quickly, if you're honestly inquiring into this, that that's all the globe has. I'm going to run through a couple of wee quick, points of the globe, just to highlight some of this stuff and break it apart for you, just a little bit. As I say, if you're honestly inquiring and you want to get in touch with me, please do so. I'm open to having discussion with you either in private, or you can come on here and have it openly in front of people. So it's up to you. But I'm not going to get through the whole shebang right now. After this hangout this evening, I've got a couple of projects coming up, a couple of different wee things I'm going to be working on. One of them is going to be, I'm going to make short snippets of every facet and aspect of this whole topic of discussion. The backwards and forwards, breaking apart the language and showing and highlighting for you what's actually going on. And I'll be doing it in bite-sized chunks so that the attention span will be there for people, because I know people struggle with that. So, right. And Bill, I seen you were there in the chat earlier, Bill. I've just messaged you and I really appreciate, Bill's a good friend. Bill's endeavouring to be a friend to me and try and get funds for a holiday and stuff for me. But as I said, I've put the bike up for sale. It's actually advertised right now. So there's no need for any of that. I don't really like asking anybody for money for myself, particularly when it's not something that's a necessity. So, Bill, if you're there, I really appreciate it, mate. I know the intention behind it, and I hope you understand who I am, and, yada yada. Anywho, so, also, people this week, my son had an accident last Sunday in his bike, face planted to concrete, tooth out, cuts in his lip, nose burst, fingers burst. So this week's been all over the place for me. I've arranged a couple of people to have a conversation with, and then rearranged it and not seen it through. So I can only apologise to these people. You know who you are. That's me kind of clear now. So hopefully we can pick up this weekend and the week coming. So just to give you an example, a couple of wee pointers. These are just wee short videos that are aimed purely at maintaining the idea the abstract notion that the Earth's a globe. So let's just have a wee quick look at some of these before I open up and whatever else.
Now you're probably watching this video from somewhere on Earth. That big, round, beautiful planet.
See, this is one of the things you have to notice right away. They're always going to show you the globular Earth as a cartoon. It's not a tangible three-dimensional object. You cannot scale it. You cannot represent it with its physicality using the substances that are being claimed about the Earth that you're upon or within, whatever you like. Okay? So the reason that they can't scale model it and show you it practically as a real demonstration is because it's not real, it's not natural. If it was natural, you would be able to achieve that. You would be able to model it using real, tangible substance. Just like anything else can be demonstrated to you in the micro and the macro, if it is real. Whereas the globe cannot, it can only ever show you computer-generated images or crayon drawings.
Planet you humans call home. But how do you know the Earth is round? Your senses would tell you that it's flat. After all, if you stand in a large field, it actually looks pretty flat. And if you walk through that field, it doesn't feel like you're going over a curve.
And this is the crux of it. This is where it comes down to, where the burden of proof lies. Because as far as everybody's concerned, that is your direct experience. That you're on the level. That water does not bend. Standing bodies of water don't bend. What you view through the spheres in your head, you see a horizontal line from left to right. Perfectly flat. All the instrumentation that we use, like in flight, is planar. It all assumes a level Earth beneath us. So when this globe thing, regardless of what you think, because you see it in the TV and institutions have got so much money invested in it, they are claiming something totally contrary and absurd to your senses. So you should have a real high standard of accepting anything that they're offering you. Right? It's the burden is on it. It is contrary to what we know and understand and apply in everyday life. Now for me, an image on my screen is never going to cut it. Let's see what else they've got.
Could it be that the Earth is actually flat? Well, let's try an experiment. Say you're standing in a field outside of Chicago. If the Earth is flat, you should be able to see southwest and see some of the tallest points in the United States, the Rocky Mountains. But the thing is, you can't.
The thing is that you can see great distances, okay, that contradict the globe claims in their mathematics of curvature. The other aspect of this is what you'll find is that they do not ever factor in the human eye, how we actually view the world through these spheres in our head. They do not account for it in any of their calculations whatsoever. So they continually assert these things like you should have telescopic eyeballs like a cartoon that you can extend outwards and see indefinitely. That's not how it works. You're limited by angle, okay? When you look along a street or a level plane or wherever you are, the floor will rise like this, the sky comes down like this, and the walls will come inwards, and everything converges to the convergence vanishing point. So that has to be factored in. It never is. Things diminish in size the further away they get, okay? You can witness this anywhere you like. This is in the realms of visible phenomena. This is to do with vision. It's not something that can be, that has been accurately mapped out and quantified properly. It's not been factored in to anything that they're offering you. You should be asking questions as to why that is. But yet they will continually keep asserting, I can see something, I see this, and I'm making assertions about what I see. I can't quantify it or any of that stuff, but I'm just going to keep asserting it because I need it for my bias confirmation so that my religious worldview can be maintained. And I can try and sway other people into believing my pseudoscientific hogwash.
That's because of the curvature of the Earth. You'll notice a similar problem.
Again, you just look at the wee diagram. It's because of the curvature of the Earth. Nothing to do with how your eyes work. They're not interested in that. Okay? No interested in it whatsoever. Now, if you look at this wee diagram here, when you focus on an object, that's how you view it. It's like a triangle coming out from the point of your eye. But the reference frame that you're within, the surrounding, is actually the opposite of that. So the base would be in line with your head, and everything would be converging to a point. They never factor any of this in. It's childlike, it's no scientific, it's just rubbish. And I cannot believe this pitiful standard that people have accepted as being justifiable, scientific, measurable proof that they live on a absurdity.
The Earth. You'll notice a similar problem if you stand on a seashore and try to watch a boat sail away.
So again, I don't need to highlight the obvious here. This blue stuff that we call water, we have an understanding of its physicality, the properties of it, how it can behave, how it can behave. It will take the shape of the containment. It will fill any containment, any shape of container. The surface will always equilibrate. It will be a horizontal, equal, level plane in any given point upon the standing body of water. If not, if there is a deviation from the elevation of your starting point, the water will flow. That's a fundamental understanding. That's your base that you start from before you jump to visible phenomena. But again, highlighting, they ignore the tangible substance, jump straight into visible phenomena without a proper mapping of the human eye and human perspective.
For a while, it will disappear from view.
And not only that, from one day to the next, it will vary. Okay? So one day you maybe see it at 12 miles, next day you can see it at 30, maybe 40, 50 miles. It's meant to be a three-dimensional spheroid. I don't remember anybody telling me that it morphed.
Not only that, but the bottom of the boat will vanish before the top as it goes.
Things diminish at the bottom because of the angle of the light coming to your eye. So say look at the floor rising in front of you. Anything on that floor going away from you is going to get condensed more and more and more. Okay? Now the bottom portions at the floor is going to start to obscure before any other aspect of it. The other thing you have to take into consideration is that you're not equal distance between the earth and whatever the sky is, if it's solid or whatever it is up there. You're on the earth. Okay? So you've got less of an angle for the light to get to your eye. As you elevate up, that angle increases, you can now see further, you can see with more clarity. Nothing to do with curving earths and curving bodies of water. Absolutely none of it. If you want to understand it a bit better, you go and look at perspective drawing. Artists understand it and utilise it. 1 point, 2 point, 3 point perspective. Okay?
Over what's called the horizon line, the place where the sky meets the earth. For
again, more lies, a place where the sky meets the earth. In reality, the floor and the sky will never cross the centre point of any visible or visual device, whether it be your eyes or a camera. Okay? The floor will never intersect the centre point, the sky will never intersect the centre point. Okay? The horizon is not a tangible thing. It's a result of vision. It doesn't have any substance to it, and has been asserted here, it's where the sky and the ground meet. No, it's not. You would be encased in something like this then. Solid, so that when you go to that point, you couldn't get beyond it. Total and utter nonsense. You can see this any day if you want to go out and you can get a clear view of maybe a horizon at one side and a horizon at the other. Watch for an aircraft coming. Do you think the aircraft's coming up over the curve of the earth? Flying over you and then going back down the other side of the curve of the earth in the space of 20 minutes? It's flown thousands of miles in 20 minutes. No. That's just how you see the world. To you it looks like you're in your own dome. You're inside an oblate sphere. And anywhere you move, you take that sphere with you. It's a property of vision. It's not a tangible, three-dimensional thing.
Feet tall, the horizon line is only 3 miles away, but the higher up you are, the farther you can see over the Earth's curve.
Because of the angle subtended to the eye. It's very simple.
This is why standing on a tall mountain might allow you to see over 100 miles, while standing in a field will only let you see a short distance.
You can go up a mountain, you can see 300 miles. There's people that have got, footage from aeroplanes using infrared cameras that can see 500 miles.
It also means that taller people can see slightly farther than shorter people. Good thing my animator can make me any height. See?
See, what we're looking for here is quantifiable proof of the asserted claims, measurable curvature, a demonstration of how a standing body of water can indeed bend. These types of things. So far we're getting cartoon runs. Faulty assumptions and assertions being made on utter rubbish.
I'm like that one ant dude. The thing is, none of this is new information. We've known about the planet's curvature for over 2,000...
You see a lot of this use of the word we. This is trying to pull you into the cult type thinking, because it is a cult, it's a religious cult. And they want to maintain that hypnotic trance so that you feel like you belong and you are part of something bigger than yourself, which you are, but no this cartoonery. It's not about we. It's about you as the individual. Do not allow anybody to assert any authority by invoking words like we and us and people have always, consensus, authority. These are signs that you're dealing with fallacious reasoning, dishonesty, cult zealotry.
Years. The ancient Greeks figured out that the Earth is round based on several pieces of evidence, including their observations of ships going over the horizon line.
Non-quantifiable. I see something, I don't understand it, I'm just going to make assertions about it. Hey presto, the Earth's a sphere.
The scientist Aristotle, writing in 350 BCE, noted that during an eclipse, the Earth makes a round shadow on the moon. He also realized that...
More assertions being made without any tangible proof that that's the case. Again, I have to point to you and show you that we're talking about the Earth that we stand upon. We're not talking about luminaries in the sky. You do not get anything measurable about the Earth you're standing upon by looking up at the sky. Again, you should be seeing the signs here that you're dealing with a religious cult that's trying to sway you by appearing to be rational and sane when it's the total opposite. It's totally irrational and insane. Challenge for you. I want you right now to define your floor of your home. The way I want you to do it is I want you to look at the light bulb in the ceiling and use only the light bulb in the ceiling. Chop chop.
Stars appear in different places depending on where you're standing. For example, he saw stars in Egypt that weren't visible farther north. Roughly 100 years later, humans got their first measurements of the Earth's curve from another Greek mathematician.
No, there was no direct measurement of Earth's curve. Again, this is all going to be based on assumptions of what the sun is, where it is, yada yada. Sticking 2 sticks in the ground. Again, I'm going to challenge you. Get 2 sticks. Switch the light bulb on, put 1 stick underneath it, put 1 stick at the other end of the room. Now you must assert that your floor is curving because there is no shadow on the stick directly under the light source, but there is a big shadow on the one at the other end of the room. Therefore, in globe cult thinking, the floor must be curved.
Eratosthenes. He had heard of a city in southern Egypt, where at noon on the summer solstice, the sun was directly overhead, and the buildings cast no shadows. But at the same time, in the northern city of Alexandria, the buildings did cast shadows, meaning the sun was at a different angle in the sky. On the day of the solstice, Eratosthenes stuck a stick in the ground in Alexandria, and measured the angle of its shadow. Using the distance between the 2 cities, he was able to calculate the curvature of the Earth. You could actually perform the same experiment if you have a
It's always these same anecdotal stories. This is no science, people. This is total garbage. Total and utter lunacy.
And living a few miles away. Or if your friend is several hours west, you can get more proof that the Earth is round by calling them at sunset and asking how the sky looks. It will still be daylight there because of the Earth's curve. And there's one more piece of clear evidence for the planet.
See what I mean? See how idiotic this stuff is? Are you still a child? Is this still having an effect on you? If it is, and this nonsense is still swaying you, I have to inform you that you are retarded. Your growth has been stumped. Now you can live your life in that willful ignorance if you like. That's up to you. You're free to make that choice. I choose not to.
Shape. Pictures taken from space. Maybe you're not on Earth.
Pictures taken from space at the same time showing you a cartoon. Go and look at these pictures. Go and have a look at them. With honesty. Know that it matters. Because again, I have to point you, we're talking about physics here. I don't ever remember getting a physics lesson anywhere where the lecturer or the teacher came in with a photograph and made all sorts of assertions based on a photograph or an image. That's not how physics works. That's not how we further our understanding of the objective reality that we share. If you're going to hold that in regard, if you're going to hold that up there as some sort of scientific proof, you're opening a can of worms. Now anybody's free to start producing images and asserting that it's scientific. Don't be fucking ridiculous.
After all, and are actually watching this video from the space station, in which case, please leave a comment because that's so cool. If that's true, you'll have a bird's eye view of this giant blue and green globe.
How's it so cool? Even if it was true, you and I are not getting to experience any of that. It's a bunch of dipshits keeping it for themselves that would be experiencing it. It's not there for you and I to experience, but this is part of the NLP. It's so cool. Again, trying to pull you into belonging. Part of a big consensus and you belong. Because they're appealing to your nature and what you're susceptible to. So you see a lot of this being utilised with this nonsense, heliocentric globe bullshit. Anecdotal stories, pseudoscience, NLP, fallacious reasoning, illogical jargon.
What a beautiful place to live.
That's a beautiful cartoon. It's absolutely wonderful.
So what other myths about the Earth do you want me to explore? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you love science? Do you love video games?
See this again, these people try and utilise this language. Do you love science? Like he's a science lover. And because he's asserting subtly that he's a science lover, he must represent science, that being objective inquiry. No, he doesn't. Remember, you can apply the word science to anything. Deceiving people. There's a science to deceiving people. You're using methodology. You're using tools in order to deceive and hoodwink people. So you could say there's a science to it. There's a science to how you pick your nose. Grow your nail a wee bit longer, maybe file it, use it to get into the nooks and crannies. There you go, you're applying it's an applied science. So you have to be very careful when they're utilising language like this and what it actually means. Because in a way they're no lying. They're applying a science. It's a social science. Use of language and sophistry to sway you and hypnotise you into believing total and utter absurdities about where you actually are.
If so, you'll have to check out PlayNoggin, which is an excellent combination of the two. Julian recently explored the idea of mind control.
Rubbish. Another quick one, and a wee minute video here, let's have a wee look. So again, we're looking for direct measurement, quantification of substance, demonstration of substance. Are we going to get that here? We're already at number 1, and it's look up at the sky, make assertions and assumptions about what it is you think you're seeing, interpret it in order to fit the pre-existing narrative. Dishonesty again. No objective inquiry. Ships visible again. This is just look, look, look. We don't understand what's going on, but we're just going to keep asserting it. Now we're looking at other planets. What do they mean by planets? Three-dimensional objects suspended in a vacuum. Did they go to these places? Did they move around them in 3 dimensions? Did they quantify them? Did they get samples of the substances? No, they bloody well did not, because they can't go there. This is lunacy, this stuff. Look up the... Very scientific. Time zones, again, assumptions being made about what the sun is, how light behaves, what light actually is. All sorts of assumptions being made and pushed as being somehow quantified. Well, just no. Still, no direct measurement of curvature, no practical demonstrations of the substances and their claimed behaviours. And then they go and show you a straw man. Again, another cartoon. That they use propaganda and umbrella people and try and push everybody in and assert and claim that everybody follows these depictions of what a flat earth is. It's not what I represent. Images from space. Space. A vacuum. We exist in a pressurised environment. What does physics tell us about that claim? Physics tells us that that claim is absolutely absurd. Impossible. You cannot have a pressurised environment adjacent to a non-pressurised environment or an environment of lower pressure like a vacuum without equilibrium taking effect. The high pressure would immediately rush into that void. Immediately. Now, if you doubt it, go and test it for yourself. Get yourself a vacuum, mess about with air. Let me know what you find. So another huge aspect, again, that I'm going to reiterate with this globe thing is a continual invoking of the word gravity. Now what they'll assert to you is that gravity pulls things towards its centre. Now a few things you have to understand. There's two different models of gravity, Einsteinian and Newtonian. The one that they'll continually assert is that gravity, mass attracting mass, is that the earth pulls things towards its centre. Now, when we get into physics and we understand the laws of motion and acceleration, you will find that pull is only a descriptor of bringing one object closer to another object. The mechanical interactions between objects in order to achieve motion or acceleration is an applied pressure, which means simply something has to press on something else in order to make it move. So when they continually invoke attract and pull, you have to pull them up on what they're actually talking about. What is this definition? Can you break down the definition? Can you ascribe it to a mechanical reference of an interaction between two bodies so that we can understand it? You do not get that. Every practical reference that I can show you backs up exactly what I've just said. You need an applied pressure to achieve motion and acceleration. So again, we're getting these idiotic, nonsensical claims that are totally contrary to what actual reality is demonstrating to us. So I'm going to ask them again. I've continually asked. Again this week I asked proponents like Conspiracy Cats, Simon Dan. Can you define pool? Can you break into the mechanical interactions, define them and represent each interaction and what's actually going on? What is gravity? Is it invisible tentacles that latch onto something? Therefore the thing becomes an extension of it and it retracts. So the retraction device must still be an applied pressure of some sort, which then draws the objects closer to that point. Or does it have invisible tentacles that go around the back and apply a pressure and press things in towards it? I mean, what's going on, people? You need to be asking these questions. This gravity thing is a non-entity. It has no dimensions to it. It has no substance to it. No geometry. It's a mathematical concept. A mathematical abstraction that's been formulated in order to support a particular model, that being the globular Earth model. The other aspect of Einsteinian warping and bending of space-time is more jargon. Space-time's not a thing either. Has no substance. It's not quantifiable. It's not a thing. Has no dimensions to it or geometry to it. Another mathematical abstraction. So far, you should be, if you're an honest inquirer, you really should be rattled at this point. There's people that have went through it. You have to understand that I'm well aware that there's an emotional and psychological process that you're going to have to get through with this. Okay? Because I held things to be true. But as an honest inquirer and a skeptic, you must have the strength and the ability to move beyond it, let it go and move on and upgrade and update your understanding of reality and how it works. If you're having difficulty with that, it's because you are emotionally clinging to an idea. Now you have to resolve that. You have to go internally and understand why you're so psychologically and emotionally attached to a concept, an idea. Go and try and prove it to yourself. Or set out to break it. Either way, you're going to achieve the same. You're going to realise that it's not true. It is an impossibility. Where does that leave you? Leaves you in the same place as me. There has to be open inquiry. There's many human beings in different avenues right now endeavouring to try and find out other aspects of what's going on here. But there has to be a consensus on standard. That being that this is not about subjectivity, it's about objectivity. What claims are being made? Where's the practical reference for them? Where's the quantification? If that doesn't exist, you know you're dealing with either confused people or charlatans, people who are blatantly telling lies. It's as simple as that. So, I'm not going to go any further into it right now. As I say, I'm going to break all this down into short, bite-sized chunks. Concisely, so that people are left with no ambiguity. They know clearly, and they can distinguish clearly what is actually going on. I have no horse in the race. The only horse I have in the race is the truth. What is the truth? That's all I care about. I don't have a preference for what the earth is or where it is. None of that is within me. I don't need a substitute. I don't need a security blanket, and neither should you. If you don't have the strength emotionally and psychologically to get involved in the investigation, you shouldn't be here. There is a massive psyop surrounding this. The psyop utilises propaganda techniques. They are constantly trying to sway you emotionally and psychologically, bombarding you, bullying you, intimidating you, ridiculing you. You have to be asking the questions. Does this globe heliocentrism represent objective skeptical inquiry? Obviously not. People like me have had to put up with all sorts of fanatical zealotry over the last 5 years for daring to ever question an official narrative. I'm not interested in narratives and people's fuses and security blankets. It's a fuck you. Objective reality will always overcome and will always win. Now, me as a human being, I refuse your bullshit existential narratives of where I am, who I am, where I came from. You can ram it right up your ass. I don't need a story. I need people, the majority, to be up in arms, raising the bar of their standard and having an inquiry into whatever the fuck is going on here. So, I need to place an order. Just give me a wee second here. Right. This whole journey for me, there's been aspects that have been strenuous. Now, the trolls and the globe cult and all that kind of stuff, these people really don't have any effect on me whatsoever. The problems that I find is when you start to kind of befriend people, and a lot of misunderstandings happen between people. Communication gets frayed, conflict happens, and that's more the disappointment for me. I really never wanted any of these things to happen, so there has been a couple of instances like that along the road. Now, I just want to let these people know I'm not interested in any of that. I don't hold any grudges. Whatever's happened has happened. There's a bigger picture. There's more important things going on here than that. I'm sick of watching real people with their butthurt feelings running about trying to antagonise and slander each other. Again, this is part of it. You've got an active psyop, and then you've got the genuine people who perpetuate it and actually add to it. Right? Just because of the mental and emotional state that they're actually at. Okay? We're all coming to from a hypnotic trance here. There's much to learn about ourselves. Thank you. So again, from here on in, I'm not interested in any of that. I don't have any gripes with anybody. The majority of the people that I've met on here, I don't know them on a personal level. Okay? Things get strained. Everybody's under different pressures. Again, we're standing up against the majority here. We're going against the grain. It was always going to be difficult. Now, people should start understanding that. Okay? There's no need to hold on to these gripes with people and keep the strain going. Just forget about it. If people want resolve, I'm always open to resolve with people. If you don't, that's fine. I accept that at the same time. Okay? Well, I'm just letting it be known. I don't have a personal gripe with anybody because I don't know any of these people personally. Anywho. Again, I'm just going to come to the chat box and I'm going to share this link and again appeal to people. The circumstances are here. This is part of the journey for me. People like Des have been a part of that journey. And obviously the battle that's went on with him has been part of my journey as well. I'm here and I'm involved. And so are a lot of you people. Again, however many people may view this video, even if it takes £1 or $1, €1, wherever you are, you piss that away in a heartbeat. You're never going to miss it. But it would make a huge difference to people that are in need of it. The circumstances of Des and his family are as what they are. Funds are tight. We are all constrained by this bullshit structure that we're part of here. That's no based on resources and equality and freely sharing information and endeavouring to build a free society and encourage and nurture each other. We're bound by this bullshit monetisation, hierarchy and stature. So just think about it if it was in you and you were in the situation or one of your family members. You can say, it's not to do with me, I don't know them, so fuck it. Well, if that's your attitude, don't complain when it comes to you. As far as I can tell, we're all in this together. So if you can help out, please help out. Don't be lazy. All you need to do is click it. Put £1 in. Whatever you've got. I would appreciate it, and I know that the family will appreciate it, and so will Des. Although, as far as I understand, he's not in a state of awareness or consciousness right now. But that doesn't matter. It's about your humanity, your compassion, and your empathy for other people. So hopefully you display that. And I'm going to, utilise it. If you think I deserved something, please put it to that. Anybody. The truth doesn't belong to anybody. I don't deserve anything. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know. Right. I'll keep that there because I'm going to put it back in again in a minute. Where are we? Right. I'll open up. Again, you can email me if you're requesting to join, but I'm going to probably just post it into the chat box and you're free to come in and join. Please obviously have something that you want to discuss. I like a bit of discussion. I like to get a bit of depth into what we're talking about. Bring something to the table. Right, Chris Bones, how you doing? George Lappin, David Marks, Sidel Carchi, Neil W, Tracy Storia, High Level Awakening, how you doing? One Man, He's Detector, Celtic 67. It's just no stop raining here for fucking weeks, months. P900 Cool Picks, Fresh 75, Arthur, how you doing? Thing is that even if they admitted it is not a ball, most of the populace would just accept that and carry on being slaves. Well, that's what it comes to us again, Arthur. It's up to us. It's up to you, all you people out there, to speak to whoever you can. Bring it into conversation. If you have children, educate them wisely. This thing has been implemented through generations. You can overturn that by simply removing your attention, taking control of your own faculties, and then applying yourself wherever you see is important. We can't keep running about making excuses. I'll never get it. It's Illuminati and Satan and all that stuff. That's just victimhood. That's just the wrong mentality, as far as I'm concerned. Things get done when you apply your attention to it and you take steps towards achieving a goal. Tony Dixon, JT the Game, World Without a Curve, how you doing? Sandy123, Roll the Losing Dice, Sphereless, Matthew C4, Jed Skeptic Media, Chris Hayes, Moonshiner, 9/11, Moonshine 11 should be the forefront of the news. Why are not people listening? Because it's like everything else, and it happened long ago. The thing about the 9/11, again, you can show people that what they told was wrong. The difficulty in things like that is that you're never going to get total closure because you weren't there. You don't know who was involved, what was involved. It's all just conjecture. Aspects of deduction can lead to certain realisations, but you're never going to get the full picture. So of course it's part of the whole, you know, experience of our lives. It's all relevant, it's all important. Where am I here? Sorry if I've missed anybody. It's jumped. The Mind of God, Martin Allen, Neil Williams, Midnight Gardener, Celtic 67, Flat Accord Music, Scott Richardson, Jesse Shank, oops, Brandon Cook, Colshy Cats, Stephen Watson, Fly Earth Forums, Scott Richardson, Neil W, Chris Hayes, K Alexander, how you doing? Andy, how you doing? Nice to see you last night, mate. Magumba, how's it going, mate? Matthew C4. Broken Biome. Best vids, how you doing? Right, anyway, Maggie M, how's it going? Stephen, Selling Alien. Right, anywho, let's open up here. Alright, I can't do it like that, right? Keep forgetting. Just bear with me a wee second here. I'll check that out, Celtic 67. Video call. So there's that. You can click that if you want to come in and join me. If not, I'll just go through some of these other videos like Celtic 67 and whatever else has been sending. To be honest, I can't be arsed with all that. That really bores me, all that patriotism. It's just part of the divide and rule. You know, forget that you're part of the infinite and the eternal. No. I am a Scotsman. And you're an Englishman and you're an American and I am proud. Proud of it. Have you got a time machine so that you know what you're proud of? No. What the fuck are you talking about then?
Hey Del, how many more years are you going to do this, expecting different results? Seeming anything over and over again.
It's the same for you, son. You know, you keep coming here over and over again, although I tell you you're a useless wee fucking clown, but you keep coming at me. I tell you, I'm not interested in hearing for you. There's a word, there's a classification for somebody like you, son. Right, so don't come in here thinking you're on some sort of high horse and that you're an intellectual and that, because you're an absolute fucking gimpy moron. Right? Now fuck off, away you go, and spew your bile and drivel somewhere else, because I don't want to hear it, sonny boy. Okay?
What are your plans for exploration, Del?
What is your plans? Who do you listen, son, this is your narcissism. This is your narcissism and your sociopathy here. Where you think you've got the right to come in here and demand and ask questions.
I do have the right.
You earn my respect, son. Okay? You are a lost wee boy without a father, never ended to tober ye and keep you in fucking line. Okay, you're a vagrant, scummy little rodent. Now fuck off.
What are your plans for exploration?
What are your plans for getting over here and licking the cheese off the end of my cock?
I'm not a faggot like you.
You are a faggot, son.
What are your plans?
You're fucking watering at the mouth right now at the thought of licking the cheese out from behind my fucking helmet.
Yeah, this is a kids show, so stop talking.
It's not a kids show. It's not a kids show. I'm an adult fucko. You're the child.
So when people porn bomb you, you say, "Oh, kids were watching," but then you talk like that. You fucking hypocrite.
Is my children here right now?
You say kids watch your show.
You're in my hangout. You're in my hangout, Fanny Sacks. You're just a fucking scum. Nobody wants you here, son. I've got no time for you. You've got nothing to offer. You're a confused little boy.
What are your plans for exploration, Del?
What is your plans?
Why do you always have to turn the table? Why can't you answer that question?
Because you're not the authority over me. I owe you fuck all. You're not coming in here and asking me
You're just going to do this for years and years, dude?
And you're just going to do this for years and years, dude? Well, it's better than what you're doing, isn't it? Well, Flat Earth's are dead. Flat Earth's a meme. Flat Earth's a psyop meme and it's for idiots and stuff. But I'm going to be here for forever and ever and ever, saying the same thing and going, look at my visible proofsies. Look at the bendy water through my camera because I'm an absolute fucking numbskull.
At least I have that, bud. You have
Shut
nothing.
up. You've got fuck all, son. You're an idiot. You're here perpetuating government push. You are government lickspittle, son. And we all know it.
Government lickspittle. That's all you got.
That's why you're faceless. That's why you're faceless, you wee gingy clown. Now fuck off.
You're a faggot. You know that?
You wish. You wish. See, if I was a faggot, you wouldn't be getting fucking shagged anyway. I don't want scabies and fucking rabies and herpes and all that. Because fuck knows where you've been, son. You've been shafted by every dirty little vagrant paedophile out there.
Wow. Anyway, what are your plans?
Wow. Oh, wow. The big man's saying shocking things. Many times you go to say it. I've got a contempt for you. I don't want you here. You're a mad stalker. I'm actually concerned. I think I'm going to, do you know what? I think I'm going to notify the authorities because you've been told over and over again. You've been told you need tracked down because you're a danger to society. You don't know the social boundaries, son. You're going to rape somebody or do something to people that you shouldn't be doing because you're displaying that you do not have the social boundaries sorted out.
Ad hom.
This isn't a debate, Fanny Sacks. This is you getting told exactly what you are. It's not a debate, you clown. Reality's not for the... Listen, Fanny Balls. How can reality...
Cocksucker, how do you know me, faggot? How do you know me? Yeah, kick me out, you pussy.
You're no wanted. Fuck off, stalker.
Pussy.
Fuck off, stalker.
You're a pussy and a coward.
Fuck off, stalker.
You're a coward, you fucking pussy.
Oh, I'm a coward. How am I a coward? How am I a coward? Because I'll not let you suck my cock. Because you can't suck my cock, I'm a coward.
Fucking be an idiot for years and years.
That's what abusive guys do to women. Do you know what abusive guys do to women? Abusive guys do that to women when they don't get a hole off them. So because I'm not letting him suck my cock, he's just calling me names.
Over and over again for years and years. You little cult fucking leader, dude.
Shut up, freak. Fuck off. Are we back to your cult? I escaped the cult.
Yeah.
I escaped
Kick
the cult.
me out, you fucking coward.
Hurry up,
kick me
wank.
out. You hypocrite fucking coward. Go ahead, kick me out.
Tell me. You need a daddy, and I'm not the man for you.
Coward.
I'm not want to be your daddy.
Small little man.
I don't want to be your daddy.
Look at you with the big fucking tits you got here. You got double D's. You were putting Shauna Hufford to shame. Look at those fucking double D's.
You can suck them while you're sucking my cock.
It used to be muscle when you were taking juice, bud. Now it's not.
That's it. That's it, my man.
Yeah.
That's
it.
Anything else? Any scientific proof of the globe yet? Any scientific measurable proof of your absurdities yet?
Any for yours, except the definition?
Plenty.
Nothing? You don't have anything?
Every single thing that we use.
3.5 years, you have nothing. Really?
It's enough of Fanny Balls. Every single thing that we have in existence tells us that we're on a level plane. But we government lick spittle there. What a useless wee pleb. I should ask them about pool. I should ask them about how gravity worked and watch them tie selling knots again. It's like he's a sadomasochist. He loves the shafting. He loves getting bit and fucking slapped in the back of the skull while you're fucking ball deep right in him, making a right cunt out of him. I think he loves it. Freak. Let's see if we can get somebody decent. So bored of fucking sack sniffers like him. So fucking bored. It is a concern. As I say, people, this is the aspect of these people. The alarm bell should be ringing of the types of characters that these are. They have no social boundaries. These are the types of people that when somebody says no, they'll keep imposing themselves on them. There's words for that. There's criminality there. There's laws there to protect people from people like that. They're all desperate. They're all desperate. You're always going to see the behaviours like this when lies are being found out. Liars and charlatans will always display these types of behaviours. So, if you're out there, don't let fucking absolute mongs like him affect you from coming in, right? Just ignore them. I just like watching them dance. They've been coming here for nearly 5 years now. Obsessively. Obsessively. With nothing. That's what he needs. That's what's the matter with him, Celtic 67. He's deeply insecure and he wants respect from somebody like me. He wants me to accept him. And I keep telling him he's going to have to change his ways if he wants acceptance from me. All he has to do is behave. He's too petulant for that. He's too immature. He doesn't even know the basics. He's fucking obsessed with my tits. What is it about my tits? Is it the way I sit or something? Do they look slopey? Maybe he's getting his mouth watering. Oh, looks like tits. Looks like tits. It's a tit fetish, Boris Chops, but it's on men. Tells you a hell of a lot. What do I think about lucid dreaming, Neil Williams? Experienced it quite a few times. What do I think of it? Totally normal. We were talking about that last night. How in any of these kind of states, especially as a child, it was just totally normal. I never felt strange. I wasn't rattled or in fear or any of these things. It was just a normality. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Am I here?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Who?
You can just sit there until you've started to sell it.
Oh my goodness, got a lot of lag, it seems.
Aye. You might want to refresh. Maybe you should jump out and then jump back in again and see how it goes on.
Try that.
Dolly Parton. Fucking great, your tits. Oh, how easy a life would be if it only had a pair of tits. Yeah, tits get you a long way in this world, I'll have you know. I've witnessed it. A lot of shortcuts to be had, a lot of perks to be had having a set of diddies. Are you there, mate? Can you hear me? Can. So again, if you're watching and you want to join, you just need to click that link that I'm posting in the chat box. Right, I'll be a minute here. Ah, Bill, I just seen your message. Not at all, mate. Don't worry about it. It's all good, mate. It's all good. I've got a wee chat with you tomorrow at some point, mate. Oh, come on, Jed. You've seen it, son. No, you know, that's I always raise suspicious on your judgment. I mean, it's fucking 4 years of the cunt obsessively coming, although he's been told we're no interested, I don't want to hear from him. Right? He just comes in with antagonistic attitudes all the time. If he wants me to accept him, he just has to change his fucking nonsense. You know how it works here, Jed? You're for the same place. You ran about like Timmy, you'd have a sore face every fucking day. It's no conducive to social progress. He's a fucking moron. Jed, it's not about opinions, mate. It's not about opinions. It's what can be quantified and what can be demonstrated, you know, real physics. Regardless of your opinion or Timmy's or mine. It's not about opinions. What are you talking about? Right, I don't know if something's happened with that hangout. I'm just going to shut it, start another one. Any globe gobblers out there? I invited Conspiracy Cats. I told them once, you know, if I see if anybody comes in, I'm going to go and I'm going to show the comments threads and watch how these people tie themselves in knots when they keep invoking language, terms like pull and attract and all this stuff. So we'll just hammer gravity, because I'm in the mood now, just for ripping the shit right out of it. And I'm going to continually rip the shit right out of it, over and over and over again. So there's my plan.
Hello, Del.
Hello.
My globe proof. I read an article George Orwell wrote,
Right.
and he said that the fact that people navigate on math that says the Earth is a sphere, and then they arrive at the correct destination,
But
is a pretty good argument.
But P-Mars, many times you go to be told that's nothing to do with the Earth. That's about vision. That's about how you're looking at the sky above you.
Oh,
It's an interpretation. It's a mathematical model known as the celestial sphere, an abstract fantasy based on perception. It's not
Well,
about...
couldn't you could check like Google Maps the distance between two cities and then drive, and then if the distance is correct, because like the distance would be different if the Earth was flat, right, compared to a sphere.
All navigation maps are planar. PMARS, come on, son.
But there aren't flat maps based on a globe projection.
No.
Okay, I got the wrong
The
information.
globe is a projection based on the
Okay.
level Earth. It's an interpretation taken from the sky. It's a form of calculus that was done navigating by stars. So wherever you are, you're at the centre of your own oblate spheroid. Go and look at it. It's like you don't want to learn, son. You're not interested in learning. You just get this notion in your head that you think you've got a grasp and that people like me don't, when I've endeavoured to fully understand what's going on. And I'm telling you, go and look at it. Type in celestial sphere right now on your Google. Look at the depiction that they're showing you. Right? You're on a level plane and you're encased within a sphere. So do you think you're a giant? Do you think you're 2,000 miles tall and that you've got the whole Earth within your horizon?
I was thinking like I flew from LA to New Zealand, and like if the pilot didn't know the shape of the Earth, he'd get lost. Like I don't understand how people don't get lost if they don't understand the shape of what they're
PMARS,
moving on.
all the instrumentation for flying assumes a level plane beneath your feet. They utilise it and use it for the angle of approach and the angle of descent, all that kind of stuff. Takeoff, it's all there for you to go and look at it. It's all planar. It's no spherical. The only thing where spherical mathematics or any of that is applying is to your vision, because you're viewing the world through spheres.
You sound a lot more educated and you've done more research on this than me then.
No, it's up to you to go and have a look at it and stop having a bias. Son, it's dead simple once you break it.
Yeah, it's hard when you're looking into information we all have a bias, so it's hard to find the truth.
No, I had a bias because I believed I lived on a globe, and then I had to address that bias and realise that that was affecting my understanding of what was actually going on. And once I broke out of that, I started to see it for what it is. That's how you escape from cult thinking, you know? So...
I'll try your method out. I'll see.
To be honest, I don't think you're interested in breaking out of the cult. But to be honest with you, your attitude's pretty alright as well. Anyway, PMARS, they don't take any too seriously, son. So, toddle on. Roll up was fucking stinking. I don't know what's wrong with it. PMARS another one. You know, they're all at it playing porn and they're all dysfunctional reprobates, these people. Dysfunctional reprobates. Again, you know, if we were holding this in a pub or some, you know, gathering place, you know, that's up to us to do that. We're entitled to have that, you know, and express ourselves and meet each other freely. If you get morons like that walking in and trying the games that they're trying there, they would get lynched and flung right out the fucking the place that we were in. So this is what they don't understand. We're still human beings. The same things still apply here. Where's the social etiquette? Where's the boundaries? They just think they don't exist. And the reason that they think it doesn't exist is because they think they're so far away and that nobody can get to them. So, all the display is how weak and shite baggy they really are. A real life hangout anytime soon? What do you mean, like meeting with people? Well, why is it always left up to me? I don't see anybody rushing to invite me to a get together. Why is it always on me? Well, somebody else arrange something and send me an invite and I'll come. So anyway, the universities and the colleges are back this week. So I shall be resuming the interactions at these places and seeing if we can pressurise them into dealing with this stuff. So, coming to the end of this week, I'll be back out there active again. Right now, that's where my focus is going to be. It's going to be in academia. I want to hold these people to it. I want them to start addressing what's been put to them. And I want to start seeing some intellectual honesty and them opening up to inquiry. And if they don't, I'm going to report it as such. I'm going to continually show that they are still part of the cult, that they are still harbouring, an agenda, a bias, and that they do not represent proper education and freedom of inquiry. Right. Let me see here. I'm going to shut this one again and start a new one, just in case P. Mars or the likes done anything to it. I want to put it past them. So again, if you want to join me, you need to click this new link that I'm posting in the chat box. So it's interesting, as I say, when I've been over at some of these people watching them dance, you've now got guys like Conspiracy Cats saying, oh well, we don't know the mechanics of what's going on, and I'm asking the questions, well, why are you continually a certain pull and attractive forces then? Why is it constantly being pushed, this narrative that gravity, this non-entity with no geometry, no form to it, it doesn't exist anywhere? Why are you continually evoking that it's got this power of attract or pull? What's going on there? How come your notions of that don't align with any other practical reference? So, you can see the jumping, the dancing with word salad and the avoidance. I'll show it soon. And as I say, it's going to be part of the wee series where I break things down and I'm going to hammer and I'm going to show as many examples of these people using this language of gravity, pull, attract. And it'll be the same when I go to the universities. I'll be asking them to define these things. What do they mean? What is the mechanical interaction between objects? How does a pull work? How does attraction work? What have you got to reference for any of that stuff? And we know they don't have anything. Hello. I don't know your name, mate. I don't even know how to address you. I can just see that you're a guy with a white shirt and glasses and you're baldy. I don't know who you are. Bill, how you doing, mate?
Good, mate.
You alright?
Oh, yeah. Who was that guy?
Don't know. That's twice he's come in now and having trouble with tech, I think, by the looks of it. So,
Yeah, I just wanted to share something with you real quick. The other day when I was on the train down to my slave job, on Thursday, there was the people on the track there. I talked to a lot of the people on the track. Anybody I can always talk to. So I'm pretty familiar with the girl there. So she's telling everybody, "Oh, I'm so upset with myself because." I missed that rocket going up. We always watch the rockets going up, and she was so mad at herself, and she was telling everybody on the platform about it.
yeah.
I was like, So I know the lady. So I talked to her. I said, Kathy Joe, what actually happens to you when a rocket goes up? Do you feel like you're part of the rocket? Or,
Exactly.
I mean, I just don't get that. Go ties in with that patriotism and all that crap.
Yeah, belonging.
Yeah, that belonging crap.
Yeah.
But so I just tried to gently talk to her. I gave her a pamphlet because I always carry pamphlets with me. Gave her a pamphlet. I said, just look through some of this material here. I said, broaden your horizons a little bit. Think outside the box a little bit. There's a whole world we have not discovered. We need to stop looking up there and being misdirected.
Exactly.
It's the magician's trick. She said, oh, I love magicians. I said, yeah, well, their job is to distract you, and that's what, the government world, the governments in the world have been doing. Distracting people. Look over there. Don't look at what we're doing.
That's it.
So, the other thing I wanted to say real quick was, I wrote a lot of things down before about, the past couple of weeks I've been thinking about. One of the things I wanted to talk about was the metaphysical, just to get to that a little bit. The moods, our moods, how our moods change.
Yeah.
And by the way, what you mentioned before, I'll have a private talk with you about that tomorrow.
No worries, mate.
If that's okay with you. So I've seen so many people in my life, this life that I have here, and in New York and all over the world, and people's moods can change, in the snap of a finger.
Yeah.
And I wish people would talk about that. I tried to engage a couple of people and kind of get their opinion about it, and they say, oh, that's way too deep. Okay, well, I think it's good if we all have an understanding of what controls our moods. What is it in there? What is there inside this machine that can turn a very happy person 1 second into a nut the next second?
Yeah. That's always pressures and stresses, mate, innit? It's not being honest with yourself and being ruled by concepts and ideas that are not true to you. I'm getting a real bad feedback here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm getting it too. Better now?
I don't know. Check. 1, 2.
Yeah, you sound. Test check.
That's a wee bit better.
Sounds good.
I think it's just a level of awareness of themselves and their processes. Well, I was the same. Through my 20s, I could be, from one end of the scale to the other in the space of 2 minutes. But it's just because of baggage and a lack of understanding of what had played roles and affected me and moulding me, the circumstances. There's loads of complexities to, why people are affected the way they are. So
I was just, I just like to engage in a conversation with somebody about that and, try to, but I do understand exactly what you're saying about, again, it comes from our environment, things we were exposed to that can trigger us. It's what I want to find out is what is the process that goes on behind that? Do you know what I mean? Is it like something in the bloodstream that goes through the bloodstream? It must happen awfully quick because people react. It's just like walking.
It's impulse.
All those complicated emotions. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just the impulses, isn't it? People. You learn discipline. Not to react when your impulses. And then there's a difference between. Again, it's back again. There's a difference. There's a difference for me between how it used to be previously, and as I said now, where I apply before impulsive reactions would come, and I felt as if I wasn't really in control of that. That was just something that was happening to me, But the older you get, the more resolve you get. You start to apply it to the right circumstance, the right scenario. What am I being met with here? I'm gonna give it straight back. Yada yada. So and then you've got a better. Whoever that is, can you stop making racket? We can hear you on your keyboard. Whoever you are with the glasses and the red shirt on.
What do you want to know?
Can you stop messing with your keyboard when we're talking?
Sorry.
Any worries, just hit mute or something. I see yous are there, welcome in and all that stuff, but we're just in the middle of a wee convo here. Feel free to join in. So anyway.
So go ahead, Dale.
No, that's just my experience, Bill. You know, being that person, and obviously in the right set of circumstances, when you're a bit stressed, you know, you can still, you know, be overcome by the impulse and react in ways that you don't really want to be reacting. You know,
Yeah.
so and you still get bouts of that continually. It's no a mastered thing for me. You know,
Oh, yeah, trust me, I was a fire when I was a young man myself. So
exactly.
you know, I don't think I could turn as quick as some of these bipolar people, I swear, that I've met in my life, you know, including my niece, my own niece. I mean, she could kiss me on the cheek 1 second, and then she'd be punching her husband in the side of his face
Yeah.
the next second. So,
Well, there's chemicals. There's all sorts of stuff going on. There's loads of layers to it. You know, that
that's
we could delve
probably too
into.
much share in there, but you know what I mean? I just find that, you know, how that happens so quickly, you know, what makes all that happen, you know, what all the chemicals, all the electrical impulses that happen, you know, I'd like to have a better understanding of it. I know I probably never will, but
Yeah.
you know.
Well, we were talking about that earlier. You know, Xander had had the bad accident on Sunday there. And I mean, you know, Monday and Tuesday, his face was like a wee out here, you know.
Was
But
it?
now if you see him, you know, the swelling's right down. He's really healed really quickly. And I was pointing that out to him and saying, look how complex and sophisticated this machine is, this thing that your body is, how quickly it repairs itself. And then saying to him, look, if your bike breaks, it doesn't fix itself. I've got to go and sort it and repair it, you know. Now it leads you into the questions, well, what directs that? Where is that coming from? What is the actual physicality and the mechanisms that are going on behind that? You know, that the human body, you know, will instantly start to repair and resolve and fix itself. You know, it's a really sophisticated piece of machinery. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
mhm.
Yeah, it's an amazing machine, which I believe, just as my own say-so, you know, I believe that there's some essence inside there,
Yeah.
call it what you will, that has plays a big part in how this machine works.
Yeah. But I don't know if it's all about our volition and, you know, how much he is actually actively participating. You know, I mean, do you participate in repairing a cut on your hand? No, you don't.
I do my best. You know, I look at that cut and I say, "You're gonna be gone. You're gonna be gone."
But you don't direct any of that. You don't take any part of that whatsoever. So where's it coming from? What's directing that, and where does it emanate? You know. So and that's all questions, mate. You know, it's better having questions than a certain answers. You know. But,
Yeah, well, you get a bunch of people here that might have some other questions and things, so I'm just going to mute my mic, Dell, and let them talk up.
No worries. So, Sting, I think that's Stingray, and I don't know what that says. I think I've seen this picture before somewhere. The rumpus, is it?
Correct. That's me.
How's it going?
I thought I'd come and sort out your confusion with gravity.
Oh,
Given that you seem to have a big problem with understanding it.
I'm not confused at
That would
all.
help you out.
Here we go again. This is a game that somebody doesn't have social etiquette. They come in trying to have the upper hand and assert that there's some sort of authority while undermining you. That's not how you get off on a good foot, and it's not conducive to decent conversation and discussions. So these people are really narcissistic and sociopathic in their approach. They don't have an understanding that somebody like me is just going to poke them right in the fucking eye, kick you right in the fucking stones, and tell you to wind your fucking neck in and try again, cunty balls. Okay.
Right, and you're the one complaining about other people's social inadequacy.
Well, you're the one that's come in. Listen, Fanny Boz, see if somebody fires a fucking gun at me, I consider them the antagonist. You've just fired a gun. You're the antagonist.
No, I
you
didn't.
knew you want to cry like a wee fucking bitch because I'm telling you straight, you're a wee fanny. So try again, fucko.
You're clearly socially dysfunctional. But
No,
anyway,
I'm perfectly functional. You're dysfunctional, Fanny Sacks, because you're a wee bully. Listen, Fanny Boz, you're a bully and you've just fucking displayed
I'll
it.
explain
Listen,
to you. I think I'd
fucko.
like to know
Listen,
about gravity
fucko.
anyway.
You listen to me, fuckstain.
I think
You
I
listen
want
to me,
know about
fuckstain.
gravity.
Shut up.
I
Shut
thought you
up.
wanted to know about
Fucko.
gravity.
I don't want to hear anything you've got to say
You don't want to
until
hear
you
about
hear my
gravity.
fucking... Listen, Fanny Boz.
You don't want to hear about gravity.
What have you got about gravity?
I thought I'd explain it to you. given all
What
the
does
questions
gravity
you've
do?
got about it.
What does gravity do to your objects? Cunty fuck. What does it do to your objects? You piece of
You
shit.
have a social problem, don't you?
No, you've got a social problem, you wee wank. No, just because you
you-
fired a gun and now you're being
you're
shot back at, you don't like it.
Demonstrating
You know
it
what-
now.
You know the type
You're
of person you
demonstrating-
are. You're a wee
you're
sneaky,
demonstrating the
snidey,
problem very
fucking grassing
obviously.
piece of shit. You're a sneaky, snaky, fucking slithering
There we
moron,
go.
son. Don't come in here firing your guns and then cry like a wee
I didn't
fucking
fire a
baby.
gun. I just
Baby,
told you I come here to bring gravity to you.
the big bad
Stop
man
crying.
won't let me push my fucking bullshit on him, and I'm going to cry like a
What
wee
do you mean?
victim. Fuck up.
Do you,
No,
how do you,
fuck
this is how
off.
you behave in real life.
Listen, cunty fuck. You
Is this
better
how you
answer
behave in
my
real life?
questions. So are you ready to answer? Are you ready?
How you behave in
Are
real
you ready
life?
to answer my questions, Fanny
Do you
Wank?
get into a fight every few days or something?
No, because people like you don't come at me with that kind of attitude because they know what they would get, and so would you.
Right.
But you're too much of a spineless wee shite bag.
Well, you'd be
So,
well, you'd
what's
be
gravity?
arrested in prison very
What's
shortly, wouldn't
gravity?
you?
What's gravity?
Right. Okay. Well, gravity is the attraction between masses. And
Stop.
Okay.
I'm just gonna switch your hangout off if you don't answer my questions. Okay?
I will answer your question.
Now, what does attract mean?
Well, it's an attractive force.
No. Describe what attract actually. What's the physicality of attract?
Well, it's an attractive force in the sense of
Listen,
pulling like a spring.
listen carefully, son. What does attract mean? What is the physical interaction between two objects that you're denoting as attract? What is the physical interaction between those
A
two?
force.
Son, no, stop saying words. What is the physical interaction between two bodies when you use the word attract? What is the
Well,
physical interaction between them?
Well, they accelerate towards one another with
How-
a force.
What makes that happen?
The force of gravity.
You're just saying words. You're just
I am
saying,
indeed.
man.
That's
Listen,
that's what we do.
Listen.
That's what we do.
if you're too thick to actually
I'm
understand,
not. I'm not.
that's not
the
my
one telling you
problem. You obviously are too stupid because you keep
are.
avoiding it.
No. Well,
keep avoiding
you keep asking. I've answered the question.
No,
I
you're
told
not.
you what.
You're just asserting things. Now, what is the physicality between the objects?
Well,
what is
what
what
do you
is
mean by
interacting between?
physicality?
Listen, what is the
So-
interaction between the two objects? If you go
They
to physicality,
accelerate. Objects of mass accelerate towards one another, just like the Earth and the Moon.
what's making that
accelerate
happen?
towards
What's the
one another.
mechanics of that?
Okay, well, I'm happy to tell you, but I just want to know what you mean by the mechanics. There's an attraction, there's a force.
Well, listen, see if I say in order for me to move something, I need to apply a pressure to you and I can push it. I can demonstrate it to you and I can go, look, there's something with a surface area, some substance that presses on some other substance and makes it move. No, that's how motion happens.
Are you
You're
familiar
saying,
with electrical
listen,
static?
fucko, you're saying
Are
attract.
you familiar with electrostatics?
What's the mechanic?
Charges attract.
Listen, Fanny Boz, you're just going to keep jumping from one to the next. You can't
Well, no,
even
I-
answer a simple question because you're talking shite. Now, you know fine well that attract's not an interaction between objects. You can't describe it. You don't know the mechanics yet. You're
Oh, I
just
do.
waffling religious mantras and hoping that it has an effect.
No, I do. If you just give me a chance, I'll be able to explain to you.
Give me practical reference for what attraction is. Is there an interact? So here's my two hands, right? So in order to get this hand to go towards that hand, what happens? What happens from this hand to that makes it come towards it?
Right, there's a gravitational field, just like there's an electrostatic field. If you had an opposite charge,
What
so
do
one
you
of
mean
your
the
hands-
field?
Hold on,
What do you-
how about let me
What do you
finish
mean?
a sentence?
Listen,
How about let me finish a sentence?
listen, fucko.
How about let me finish a sentence?
Because I'm not going to let you finish a
Yeah,
sentence.
well, yeah, that's fine. But
Listen,
I think I'm entitled
Listen,
to
let
finish
me
one
explain to you.
sentence.
Let me explain.
Let me have one
Listen, you
sentence.
wee
Go on, let me
chorag.
have one
Listen, right, I'm just doing
Let
enough of
me
you.
make
Can't
one
be bothered with you.
sentence.
Can't be bothered with you. Can't be bothered with you. I'm not going to get annoyed with Fanny Boys like that. See, this is a problem. I hope my other hangout and the rumpus is welcome to come in and try again. Right? But they just want to make sentences. This is what you always see. They don't want you stopping them and defining the use of words that they're using because that's part of their sophistry. They don't want to get into the nitty gritty of each word because they know what's going to happen. So Rumpus is a dishonest cult zealot yet again. It can try again. I'm just going to open another hangout. Now Rumpus, you need to define each word that you're using and we have to break it apart so we understand the physicality of what it is you're trying to invoke. Okay? So son, try hard. Try harder. See what I mean? About how fragile this bullshit is. It's dead simple. Apply pressure. A push source is the force that makes things move. Fact. Demonstrable. Hurry up, Rumpus. Are you ready to give definitions and explanations and descriptions of the interactions of the waffle that you're coming out with? Or have you run away now? Exactly, I don't mean that. Gravity, attraction force. It's just mad religious fruitcakes. God, gravity, force, gravity, How does it work? It's just a force. Is this the best? Is this it, man? These cunts are fucking pathetic. Really, really, really weak and pathetic. It's actually disappointing that they've not even got a challenge. Pay attention to the attributes as well. Again, it's the social etiquette that tells you a lot about a person. Well, they come in and try and undermine you right away. That's a bully. That's somebody for the watching. Right? If you get vulnerable people run about these types of characters, you should have a concern. You've got a duty of care. I'll help them. Right? This poorly attractive nonsense isn't reality, which is why they had to invoke the warping and bending of space-time and try and make space-time some, plain surface, which is why they'll show you like lycra and putting a weight in it so that the lycra is then stretched, and then they'll put other things in there and go, look, it goes towards it. Pull's not a force. Attraction is not a force. You can't have two things coming towards other things without some sort of interaction happening. If you push a ball into, like a beach ball into water, right, you make that impression, then anything that's in that periphery is probably going to get pushed in there by the water rushing in to fill the void. Right? So there's a pressure applying that creates motion that moves in to fill the void. Just like here, like any fluid does. So that they try and utilise these visual representations and then extrapolate it into nonsensical abstract land. That you don't need any sort of fabric. There's no physicality there. It just pulls. It just... Well, how? How does it pull? How's it doing that? Warping and bending space-time. What do you mean, like your granny's knickers stretched over a barrel? Yes, that's what I mean. So the universe is now made of fucking lycra and granny's knickers and all that. And the earth, the globular, nonsensical testicles now sitting on it and stretching it. Have you been up there and taken a sample of your granny's stretched knickers yet? No, you can't. Because it's just a mathematical concept. That's why the rumpus has ran away. And whoever else was in with him. So is there any other globe proponents out there that have a bit of social etiquette that can actually articulate and understand the waffle and the bullshit that they're trying to perpetuate? Please join me. So let's see, we might as well go and rip Conspiracy Cats a new wee sphincter, shall we? Because he's just as stupid as the Rumpus and the rest of them. Let's see here. I've done it twice, I'm not sure, just let me find it here, it should show up. Okay, so my point to him was, he had me in his video again, another obsessive lunatic, and a certain day sock accounts and all that fucking stuff. So I said, I don't do sock accounts, you being my #1 obsessed fan should know that. When are you going to give a detailed description of this pulling force? I want...
Are you going to run away again? I mean, you run...
Listen, Rumpus, I'm in the middle of something right now. It's funny why you just waited until I focused on Conspiracy Cats before you dived in here.
I was in another chat while you left me with someone else.
Are you smart enough yet? Have you figured out how you can describe the mechanical interaction between two bodies that denotes pull?
I can.
You go specifics of how they're interacting with each other. That's perfect. Let's hear it.
Okay. Right, so just like electrostatic forces, presumably you accept that positive and negative charges attract one another. Masses do the same thing.
Rumpus, have you got the mechanics of what goes on there yet?
I don't understand what you mean by the mechanics. I've just
Rumpus, do you have a full understanding when you're invoking electrostatic forces and the interactions of positive and negative charge? Do you know all the mechanical interactions between these things? Are you just waffling shite?
Well, if you, there are many things I don't know about. I know quite a lot.
Rumpus, focus on gravity, because we're not talking about electrostatic stuff, right?
Yes,
Listen, we're talking about gravity.
We are.
Right? So listen, just keep it simple. Rumpus, you're just going to fucking annoy me, son. I'm just going to eject you and I'm going to rip your pal apart if you don't shut the fuck up. Okay, now listen carefully.
You really must let me finish the sentence.
Listen, because I'm the master cunt. You're you're the wee boy, so you're getting schooled here. You're getting schooled.
Being a decent human being. How about being a decent human being?
The minute you come in here, see when you come in. See when you come in.
Civilized
human
being and have an interaction.
You don't listen. Because see the minute you come in here, the very first thing that came out of your mouth was antagonistic. You're too stupid to understand that. It's not my fucking fault. So stop crying, okay? You've acted like a wee petulant boy, and now I'm treating you like a petulant wee boy, and you don't fucking like it. The thing you need to learn here, is how to... The thing you need to learn about is how to up your game. Right, anyway. So, this attraction and pull, have you got a definition and description of the interaction between two objects yet? Under the definition of attraction and pull?
Well, I don't. I'm confused as to why you don't understand what I told you.
Never told you.
Do you understand what a force is?
Listen. Have you got a detailed description of the interaction between two bodies that you ascribe the word pull and attraction to? Yes or no?
Yes, I do, and I can give you the formula if you'd like.
No,
I can give you the Rumpus. Well, that is a detailed Rumpus. More detailed can
Rumpus, have you got a practical reference?
Yes, I have.
What's that?
Okay, I can show you a paper showing the gravitational the G being
Rumpus, fuck
scientific
off.
Paper.
Rumpus, fuck off, son. I'm going to rip Conspiracy Cats a new arsehole. Just go away.
Right, so you
don't have anything. Rumpus, is there a force? Listen, answer me.
Now you don't
Rumpus,
is right?
Is there a force that you're asserting that pulls and attracts?
Yes. Just like, and I was demonstrating.
Right, so tell me simply, how does pull and attract work? How does that work?
Well, just like a spring. I mean, you accept a spring pulls, presumably. So if you accept a spring pulls, then you can accept there are these forces.
Pull's not a force. Pull is not a force.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Stupid.
Yes, it is.
Show me pull. Show me pull. Give me one example of pull.
Tug of war.
That's applied pressure in every possible direction.
No, that's a tension. That's not a pressure. It's a tension.
Rumpus, fuck off, you absolute clown.
Tug of war. You do understand a tug of war, people...
Shut up. Go and you define the mechanical...
Do you understand that the rope is under tension?
See you later. I'm not going to hear this shite again. Tug of war, I'm too thick to understand what's going on. You squeeze a fucking rope. Each person that wants to take it in that direction squeezes, applies a pressure in that fucking direction, pressing on it and pushing it. Your gravity's fucked and you fucking know it. You can fucking shook my fucking bare end, you wanks. Cunt in the shed for a housing scheme in Paisley's too fucking clever for yous. Get it right up, yeah! Oh, how fucking butt-hurt you all are. I revel in it. I absolutely lap it up. Sitting on the pedestal, spitting on ye. Here, drink my pish while you run about trying to chop my ankles. Here, have some of my steaming hot pish. And cunts like the rumpus and conspiracy cats and all that, oh wait. Fill me with your hot steamy pish. You've not got what it takes. You're no clever enough. You're a fud. So anywho. So, I'm not going to bother opening another hangout right now, just so that we don't get interrupted. Well, I'll rip the pish right out of this clown. So where are we? When are you going to give a detailed description of this pulling force? I want the mechanics of it and a practical reference to support it. Oh, that's right, you can't. Just like you can't practically demonstrate any of the ridiculous nonsense you want to be true. Keep dancing, my wee flower. Anytime you are ready to man up and offer some real practicality that supports your fantasy beliefs, I will be waiting. Until then, keep fapping away. Now, if you go to these videos, you'll probably see that you can't see my comments under his video, just to show you. So what did I get back? Very first comment. I never made any claim about forces being pushes or pulls. Excuse me? In fact, the mechanics of any force is really unknown when you dig deep enough into it. Exactly. Even the push from a human muscle is caused by movement of myosin head moving due to ATP hydrolysis. So Conspiracy Cats is one of these guys that likes to copy and paste to appear as if he's got an intellectual grasp on everything. And I'll tell him such to wind his neck in a minute, but anyway, we'll continue. But the question is then, what forces are acting at an atomic level? So here he just goes waffling away in, like, let's go into a fantasy realm of nonsense so that I don't have to deal with what you're actually asking me here, which is, you know, what's the description of the mechanics of this pull and attract shite? So, it is you who brought up the push-pull. No, I'm just stating the facts, that motion and acceleration requires a pressure, something pushing on something else in order to achieve such. That's what was being highlighted to him, and he bloody well knows that. But he has to avoid, because he's a dishonest, lying little cretin. To me, it's all semantics. We see things move, we don't always fully understand the mechanism that causes it. Oh, well, there's a bit of intellectual honesty, but hang on a now. Are you not making videos asserting that this non-geometric entity called gravity, when a substance to it is pulling things to the centre of your sphere, that's bending oceans and standing bodies of water round the outside of it? Is that not what you're asserting? No, am I mistaken? I have no problem with your point at all. What I do have a problem with, though, is dismissing things like gravity. Purely gravity because some people use the word pull to describe it. That makes no sense. Well, this is what I'm asking. Right? Because it doesn't make any sense to me. It's been continually invoked that gravity is pulling stuff. So when I'm asking, well, what's this pull? What is pull? Because any reference that people think pull is, I can show you that it's an applied pressure. That the point of pressure will be somewhere, and it's always push that achieves motion upon things. So that's the interaction between objects. So this is what I'm asking. Is gravity getting visible tentacles that come out with suckers on the end and latch onto stuff? And then it's got like a a winch at the centre that draws it inwards? Or has it got invisible tentacles that run out and go round the back of objects and apply the pressure here and take them towards the centre? Because that's the mechanics of motion. So I'm trying to clarify whatever it is you lot are insisting. It's not me that's got a problem. It's these reality denying muppets that don't have a clue. Or they do have a clue and they actively keep avoiding it. So my response then was, good. Then you should be highlighting all this drivel about gravity being a pulling force. All motion is achieved by applied pressure. Again, you should know this. But here you are performing gymnastics and don't want to go there because you know what the implications are. More of your dishonesty on display. It's not just semantics. People really are confused by push-pull. Look at the state of guys like Skyfly Bry and the Rumpus and all these people. They're just fucking spazzing them out. They're having psychotic episodes. They think it's two different applications of force to create motion. Something must be between your bumping particles, unless of course you're stupid enough to believe there is nothing between them. In regards to muscle motion, who knows, but I would say it is metaphysical, unless of course you're going to assert that my volition is made of matter. So he's going on about the muscles, and I've spoke about this and how we can trace the mechanical interactions to a point where it's metaphysical. It's my intent. Well, what's my intent? What is it about my intent that then converts into, mechanical motion? That's metaphysical. It's got to be investigated. So that's the point I was making to him. Unless, of course, he's going to assert that my consciousness, my volition, is somehow a material substance. So what is gravity? And what does it do if it's not pulling stuff to the centre of a mathematical concept? So there's other people here, too many hits, another lunatic, is quoting me, I don't do soccer accounts, but you have umpteen alternate accounts, don't you? Celtic 67 Beyond Belief. So you still get these cretins. Celtic 67 and Beyond Belief are probably here right now, typing and doing whatever else. But I must have invisible gravity tentacles that can type or something. Crackpots. And then my next comment was, and please stop rattling on like you know everything, you narcissistic twat. We can all read text and recite it. I'm no impressed, wee sacks, so wind your neck in. And start demonstrating with practicality whatever it is you think you know. And that doesn't mean pen strokes on a whiteboard, you lunatic. So he's come back. Del, although this is not a usual occurrence, I do agree with you that calling gravity a pull might not be technically correct. Take note, Rumpus, and all you other dipshits out there, because Conspiracy Cats is having to crumble and face reality. But as far as I know, nobody is actually claiming to know exactly how gravity works. Really? Again, I have to highlight, why is it constantly being invoked and asserted that it's doing this and it's doing that and achieving this, that and the other then? More lies, Conspiracy Cats. More lies, son. The use of the word pull is just to highlight the coming together of two things. Well done. It's good to see that you're learning. And I know that you learned that from me. Where we use push to mean the opposite. I don't use push and pull as scientific terms, just descriptors of direction, because that's exactly what they are. It's the physics that we're interested in, which is what I keep asking. And it's being avoided over and over again. That is all they are to me, and I think most people feel the same. This is why I say that to me, this is just semantics. No, it's not. This is him just trying to get rid of it. It's no semantics. I'm talking about the physical interaction between bodies. What makes them move? It's not hard. And yes, of course, there has to be something causing the movement. It can't be magic. Well, that's what, as far as I can tell, everybody that's invoking gravity, that's what they're invoking it like. Magic. stuff just comes towards it. Oh, that's magic. That's pseudoscience, fairy tale, fantasy nonsense. However, just with magnetism and electrostatics, we can't fully and totally explain what is causing the movement. But we can demonstrate things. We can deduce that there has to be something going on. Something has to be shifting in order to shift something else. That's how reality works. Something moves, it moves something else. That moves something else, so on and so on. So we're back to it again. Well, if it's not that, what are you talking about? Just come towards me. I don't need to have any sort of interaction with you whatsoever. I can just imagine it. That I can just come towards me. Fuck off. So I'm just coming back and saying that, you know, he's still not defining things, he's still avoiding it. Anyway, I can't really be fucking arsed reading this clown out. If I have to, I'll show it in more detail, but I'm kind of bored of him. It's just all dancing. Avoidance. They know fine well what I'm saying, and you should understand what I'm saying now. Okay? Magnetism, electrostatics. Do you think that it's just got something about it and it doesn't need to affect this thing in any other way? It can just have some property that somehow magically, with no explanation, no mechanical interaction, nothing going on between the two of them? Or are you asserting that we're in some sort of, you know, ether, and the objects, you know, within it somehow distort it in some way, like a body of water, you know, like creating a whirlpool or displacing water, and then that displacement happens, more water rushes in and anything that's been carried along gets pushed into that region? Because these are physical things that we can actually look at and understand, that it's always an applied pressure. So they need to start defining crystal clearly what it is they're talking about, or where their pursuit actually is. Because as far as I can tell right now, what they've got going on in their mind is this: come to me, come to me. Nonsense. Feel free to join me, and hopefully you genuine people out there are grasping exactly what it is I'm talking about here. You must grasp it, because their fantasy is dead. It's a total nonsense, nonsensical jargon, magic and fairy dust and wishful thinking. It's utter lunacy. It's fine for them to say, oh, well, I'm calling this effect gravity, and there has to be a proper investigation into it. But that's not what's happening. What we're seeing is that it's been taken, and they're just asserting it. Gravity does this and gravity does that, and it makes all this mathematical concept sphere work, which is fucking lunacy. I can hear noises. I can't see who it is right now.
Alright, Del, it's Jez. How you doing?
Jez.
All this push thing that you've been talking about,
Aye.
absolutely spot on, mate.
I know.
Absolutely spot on. When you first talked about it, I was like, hey, what's this? And I took note in what you did, and I started looking myself. Everything's a push. Everything.
Yep.
It debunks gravity.
That's it.
There is no pull.
No.
If I can get it in 3 days, why aren't the others clicking on?
Exactly, because they don't want to, mate. There's a lot of dishonesty going on. And for me, you're starting to separate the wheat from the chaff here. Starting to see these deceivers. You know?
I mean, the push, I think it's an awesome one. It saves all the messing about, all the ring roads. You just say, show me it. They can't. You can't show the pull. No. Because it's all push.
Exactly.
I tried to do a demonstration the other night on another channel, and I just got interrupted every 10 seconds.
You'll have people, there's gatekeepers all around, mate. You know, there's people out there that are just going to keep antagonising and interrupting and detracting for the facts because they don't want it getting spread.
Yeah. Well, I had I had a piece of rope dangling, and I said, look, what's the hand doing? The hand is being compressed into it, which is a push.
Yep.
I said, my hand is clenching around it. That's a push as well. Everything's a push.
Yeah.
When I pull the rope down, it's a push.
It's all right to use the word pull as a descriptor for, you know, something coming closer to something else. But when we're talking about the physics, the interaction, the mechanics, you know, behind it, you know, it's different. This is what I'm pointing at with the gravity. It's fine to keep saying pull, you brought something towards you, you know, or pushed something away from you. But when we're talking about physics, we're applying it differently, so it's fine, mate, you know?
Yeah. I mean, but, you know, everyday life, we're going to say push or pull. Mm-hmm. That's our everyday figure of speech. But the physics behind it is push.
Yep.
Everything.
Yep.
We did, an airplane turbine.
Yeah.
You're pushing through the medium's pushing through, it's pushing through the blades, it's getting compressed, it's being pushed, and then it's pushed out the back. That's how simple it is.
Yep.
It's easy. Because with the mass attracts mass, I used to do it, you know, I used to say, look, what's the mass? Oh, I don't know. Well, it's all right you talking about it, but I want to know what the mass is. Mm-hmm. What makes the mass? They can never give me an answer.
No.
So I always hit them with a barrel. What's inside the barrel? You know, you can't pick it up and you can't see inside. What's its mass? And I play games with them, but I just wanted to come on and say, nice one. It's absolutely spot on.
That's it, mate. Well, good. I'm glad you understood it and you've updated your understanding and keep firing it at them now.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's a nice weapon now against them.
Yeah.
And they don't like it. I mean, I was talking to a lady the other day, she's called Trouble. After about 20 minutes of conversations between us, she clicked on.
Yeah.
And she went, yeah, it's a push. Well, you'll probably know this gentleman anyway, Jin.
No.
Yeah. I'll say no more. But,
who?
Jin, Flat Earther.
Don't know.
Because we're on Real Conversations.
I don't know, mate. I've not been paying any attention, to be honest with you.
That's mainly where I go and have a bit of a chit chat, and and that's it. But yeah, I've been pushing this topic myself. The push.
Good.
Trying to enlighten people. Going deep and doing experiments to actually back myself up. Mm-hmm. I feel I'm getting somewhere with it, but like I say, we can just keep pushing it out there, and that's it.
That's it, mate. All right, keep at it.
All right, Del. I'm going to go, mate, and I shall catch you soon.
Nice one.
Cheers, nice one. Cheers, Del. See you soon, buddy.
Cheers, bud.
Are you allowed to show videos, Dal, and all those things?
Yeah, I'm not sharing anything. I don't trust you, mate. No,
I just mean, you said you wanted a demonstration. You don't have to share it on the main channel. Just you look at what I'm showing you.
Right, go for it, and then I'll share it. What is it?
Yeah, okay. So you can see what I'm showing, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So we've got a balloon inside. And they take, well, let's just watch first. So we see the balloon go outside into colder temperature.
What's this in regards to, Spursky? I mean, you're another one that's lacking in social etiquette. I don't even know what it is you're in here for, and you're just showing me a video of a fucking smiley face balloon. What is the point before we even go any further?
Well, I'm demonstrating a pull force.
A pulling force. Oh, smashing. Here we go. Go for it.
Okay. So we can see that temperature is the cause of push-pull, in my opinion.
So stop now, right? See, before we get into it, what is your understanding of pull then? If you say that there's a pull force, how does it work?
Pull, okay. Molecules contract So when they get smaller, they lose energy, kinetic energy. And when they lose that kinetic energy in cold temperatures, they contract. And obviously, when all molecules around pull, get smaller and smaller and smaller.
No. Don't. What do you mean by pull? How does pull work? Describe it for me.
Describe temperature.
No, pull. Listen clearly. You know what I'm fucking saying to you. Pull. Describe it.
Well, I'm describing it, but
no,
you're not accepting it.
No, you're not.
I'm showing you a demonstration.
You've come in here and asserted all sorts of game, Sparskimo. I don't want to lose my rag with you, son. No, fucking describe, define, and demonstrate pull.
Right, here's my demonstration. And this is the cold temperature pulling the balloon in. When he takes the balloon back inside, the warm temperature will push the balloon out.
So you've got what you're
seeing in and out, in and out.
So
where is the push here?
So you're talking about expansion and contraction.
Yeah.
Right. So what's that got to do with pull?
Well, that's it. Pull, push, expansion, contraction.
No, it's not. Sparskimo. Are you daft?
No, you're looking at a demonstration of this being pulled in.
What's happening is that it's taking up less space, and what is outside is trying to fill the space, and it's compressing the balloon.
The outside is compressing the balloon. Why is it not compressing inside the house?
So what is the air? Are you telling me that the air inside that balloon has latched itself on? Has it got tentacles or something? Has it got suckers on the end of it, invisible suckers? So it suckers itself onto the interior walls of the balloon, and then when it contracts, it draws the balloon in with it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if this temperature...
Yes! Stop! You just said yes.
No, I'm saying that if this were to drop in temperature, you would see the balloon get pulled in and even further.
Sparskimo, I'm sick of you now, son. Pull. Woody, I'm asking you specifics. You keep saying pull, and now I'm trying to get into the mechanics, the physicality of what you're talking about. So are you asserting that the air molecules, or whatever gibberish you're going to say, have got invisible tentacles? Are they gluing themselves onto the interior walls of the balloon?
No.
So what are you talking about then? What are you talking about?
We're talking about the molecules in the atmosphere contract and expand.
Right? So you're saying that they're pulling the balloon in. You're telling me that the air inside that balloon is somehow grabbing onto the interior walls of the balloon and drawing it inwards. That's what you're asserting here.
No, I'm saying when the cold air...
Sparskimo, that's what you're... Listen, I don't know if you're just daft and you don't understand what you're asserting. I'm asking you, think about it. So the air, let's say there's air molecules in there, like wee particles or round balls, right, that are air, right? Are these latching onto the interior wall of the balloon?
No.
Right, so how are they making the walls come inwards?
I'm trying to explain.
You're not explaining because you're missing the point. You're missing the point. What is the molecules' interaction with the walls of the balloon that are drawing it inwards? You're saying that they're not attaching to it, so how are they making it move?
I'm saying the molecules inside are pulling the balloon.
How? How are they pulling it?
Because they have, when they lose energy...
Sparskimo, listen to me. You're listening carefully. Are they attached to the interior walls of the balloon? You said no. Okay, so how are they managing to make the balloon walls move?
Because there's molecules in the balloon structure. They also contract, just like the molecules in the balloon. Everything has molecules. Metal, water, plastic contract in cold temperatures. You contract. You expand.
I can't be bothered with you, mate. Honestly, you've got nothing to offer here. You're way off, son. Just go away. Gleam, if you get into that, listen, I'm going to invite Gleam into this discussion here because I can't be bothered with you.
Can I end that?
Go for it.
Just basically say, Spurs, when it's fully inflated, that's because the temperature inside is bouncing the molecules around fast enough to keep it inflated. As soon as you cool them down, they all slow down.
Yeah, that's what I've just said. They lose
and
energy.
then it deflates it.
I just said
There's
that.
no.
Listen.
There's no pull and
Listen,
push.
exactly. So
It's just the movement of the actual atoms. That's all, or movement of the molecules.
So, but Spurs is seeing the walls of the thing being compressed inwards, right?
Yeah, everything is contracting in cold temperatures. You lower the temperature, the more the pull. You raise the temperature, the bigger the push. What's difficult to understand about that?
There's no pull. Spurs, come on, I'm going to ask you again, son. What does pull mean? I've just tried to walk you through it. What you're trying to tell us is that you would have to be certain that the air has got tentacles that latch onto the material of the balloon to make it move.
No, the molecule itself.
I can't be fucking asking running in circles with morons. Fuck off. Get to fuck, Spuskimo, you're stupid.
Weird, Dad. I don't understand what you're not understanding. Temperature.
Don't tell me I don't understand, Spuskimo. It's you that doesn't understand. I'm sick of you.
You have no idea how molecules work in this.
You don't got a fucking clue for your ear hole for your asshole, son. So don't come in here tell me what I know and I don't know. I know that in order to make something move, you need an applied pressure to it.
No, you don't. You need temperature.
Fuck off.
Expansion and
fuck off.
You've got a demonstration in front of your face. What more do you want?
It's your lack of understanding of what's actually happening, the physicality of what's happening there.
So, how is it? What's your reason? There's pressure on the outside.
It's got to be something like that.
No, there's no pressure on the outside.
Oh, there's no pressure on the inside. Right, no worries. Pressure. I mean, fuck off.
The same pressure inside, Dad, is the same outside.
Right.
Why is it going in outside and out inside?
It won't be the same pressure if it's just a different temperature.
Different temperature, yeah. There's no pressure going on here, is there?
There is. If there'll be a differential between the indoor that will not be cold and the outdoor that will be freezing cold.
So how are you going to measure the pressure?
When air gets cold, it gets more dense. It gets heavier.
How are you going to measure the pressure? You're saying there's a pressure. That's a wild claim. There's pressure. There's gravity. There's a press. What press?
Well, Spurskimo, deduction for motion and acceleration, it needs an applied pressure. If you're invoking motion, it has to... Listen to the stupidity, right? Is there a non-interaction? Is there nothing touching nothing else? And motion still being achieved? Is that what you're trying to assert?
I'm saying everything...
Just answer yes or fucking no. You're just annoying me, son. Are you telling me that motion is being achieved with no? Are you telling me that motion is being achieved with nothing touching something else?
You've got a demonstration in front of your face, cold.
You've just got a balloon and waffling shit. Get to fuck, Spurs. I don't want you here. Fuck off. You're annoying me.
Well, you explain to me what's happened in this video.
It's up to you to fucking explain it.
Well, you have an observation. You explain it with your understanding.
It's not my observation. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm asking you questions on the assertions that you're making.
No, we see the same thing.
Spuskimo, just go away.
You don't explain because you don't want to believe in Paul.
If you get something else, Gleam, because I can't be asked for this. Please just talk about something else.
I have. I've got not the standard explanation that Rumpus tried to explain, but the thing that he tried to liken gravity to. We've had the conversation a couple of times where it's electrostatics, and I believe it's closely related to that. But if you're after an example, I don't know whether that echoes. It's not coming from me. I've got the watch page done. But anyway, so rubbing a piece of amber will create friction, will create a charge imbalance on the neutral object. And therefore, when you put a charge imbalance, let's say all the positive electrons are attracted to the all the positive is attracted to the negative on, let's say, a cone.
Let's stop, Gleam. Again, this word that I need to keep bringing this up. Attract. What is the interaction between things when we're using the word attract? Again, we're back to this.
The thing I think it is all electrons. So we're swimming in a sea of electrons.
So basically. It's like so that the analogy then would be like we're in a body of like a fluid.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So when something, when an area that's displaced, the rest of it rushes in to fill that void.
Yes.
Right.
Even in a vacuum.
Right.
This is put it in a vacuum and you cannot shield against it.
Right. So that again. So we're talking about ether or something then.
It's exactly that.
Right.
It's got many
so
names.
we
Zero
understand.
energy.
We understand that. Then there has to be something. So something's being displaced, which causes the rest of the surrounding to move into that area. So anything that's caught within it, maybe a certain material or whatever, is going to get pressed into that area.
Exactly.
Right. That's falls in lines. That falls in the line with everything else, which is perfectly fine.
Yep. Yep, that's it. And that is tangible. Put it that way. That's how I see it. It's tangible. And where Rumpus would have gone off on was to say, imagine electrostatics, something tangible that we can test and we know about, and then try apply that to this magical mystic force.
Yeah.
And then on the same hand, every single one of them will say, when you ask them, okay then, just so we know it's not the electrostatic force, what's the difference? And put it this way, can I ask you that? What have you heard back from them, and what would you know in the general understanding of the mainstream? What are the core differences between gravity and electrostatics? Because we both know that
they just try and use them and interchange them. It's on the use of the language. Again, it's in this attraction and pull, right? That's what they're always at, and this is what they're not liking, because again, it's the same with Sparsky. He doesn't understand it. You can't have, any piece of material, that's interacting with some other piece of material that's no somehow doing something to affect to make the motion happen. You can't just make something come towards something else without some sort of interaction between things.
Yep, that's it. That's it. Well, we know that this electric works because of lightning. We see it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't believe you're saying this now. You're watching a pulling force because of the cold, and you're saying I can't see pulling.
But listen, Foskimo, I'm going to ask you once more, and you've already said it. Are you saying the air or the molecules or whatever it is that's inside the balloon are attached to the interior walls?
No.
Right, there you go. No. Listen, Spurs. Listen, you're going to learn something here. That's the point I'm making. So what's making it compress in the way? What's making the walls of the balloon compress inwards?
You're not listening.
I'm listening.
In the balloon itself are compressing. They have molecules, Dal. They compress your hand.
What's compressing them? What's compressing them? What's compressing them? What's compressing them?
It's temperature, the cold temperature.
What's it doing to you?
It's contracting, it's pulling. You can
Shut up, you fanny. Fuck, you're too fucking stupid. You're a spastic. Fuck off. We've just established it. We've just established it. You've got somebody here that clearly understands what's being said here, and you've got you that's just delusional and delirious. Going round in circles.
Can I try tackle it? Can I try tackle it then? Right. I do want to really explain to it. Now, you've got to bear in mind this is going to be a thought experiment, and you've got to imagine the skin of the... No, wait there. No, yes, no, I'm going to explain it, but you've got to do this because you're just going to go, the balloon will pop. But no, wait there. This is it. This is it. Calm down. If you allow me to explain, you're going to understand. Okay? You have a balloon there. That's its volume, its maximum volume before it will pop, let's say. Okay? When there is a certain amount of volume of water compressed, it's called an ice cube. You can put an ice cube inside a balloon and it will be completely deflated. Now, this is the part where I'm saying you're going to have to imagine the skin of the balloon as fireproof, because you boil it up, that water up, and it becomes a gas. And then that balloon will inflate with the molecules dissipating and bouncing around everywhere. When they're a solid ice cube, what all you're seeing is a state beforehand and thinking that was never filled up. That balloon was never filled up. It was always like that. No, it was filled up.
Okay, fine. Look, you can have your pseudoscience. I'm showing you a demonstration.
That's actual science.
Okay, and you can see that outside of the container, they are pushed out, and when they're inside the cold, they are pulled in. You're watching this and telling me there is no pull, and then trying to tell
me the molecules are slowed down. The molecules are slowed down.
Yeah, why did they slow down?
Because of the cold. That is the whole nature of
and what happens when they slow down? What happens? Are they being pushed?
No, they're slowing down. They're not jiggling as much.
Are they being pushed?
No, they're not jiggling as much.
They're being pulled. You can see that they're being pulled together.
No, they're in a force bouncing against the internal of the skin. As soon as the cool cools them down, they lose momentum. and therefore they're not bouncing as much on the skin inside. So they slow down, and therefore it decompresses. That's not insane. That's science. That's the current science.
No, we're looking
and that is what has happened
here.
And that is what's happening.
So now we will see warm temperatures push the molecules out in the opposite direction.
Yes, because it's now warming up to the environment surrounding it.
Pushing. Here's a push.
It's equalizing to this environment around it.
Call it what you like, but this is pushing that way. If I put my hand here, I'm
warming up
stop,
the jiggling particles.
Stop. Right, so here we go, Spurs. Right, you understand that they're pushing outwards as it's inflating, right? So this is what I'm trying to show you. Are you thinking that air in there is attaching to the walls and then contracting and drawing it inwards?
No,
right.
Again,
Enough then.
No, you've got it wrong.
Enough.
Look at this green balloon. Okay.
Enough. I'm not listening to you anymore, Spurs. It's time for you to go, or I'm just going to shut the hangout down and start again.
Right, well, like I say, demonstrations speak for themselves.
Demonstrations are fine, but you don't understand the mechanics of what's happening here. You're just waffling shite. Pool doesn't exist. It's not a force.
That's your belief.
No, it's a fact.
Demonstration.
It's a fact.
Demonstrations trump your belief.
Here's the thing, then, Spursky. Right, I'll just let's suspend this for a wee second and say, right, all right, Spurs, we'll let you get away with your pool here. Give me some other reference of pool.
No, I've got one here, and until I find another one, we're going to go with this.
Shut up. Fucking idiot. Absolute fucking roasters, man.
I know.
Hello.
There.
Who's this? Sorry.
That's weird.
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Sorry, yeah, I was feeding back. Yeah, that's well weird. They were both on. I think it was Ranties the other day. And they were saying they've come up with the ultimate formula, the unification formula, which was temperature equals force. And you can have a positive force or a negative force. And that just blew my mind. It was just like, what? Temperature equals force. And I give an analogy that if you want to bash down a building and you use that formula, it's like, I want a wrecking ball. I'll go for temperature. I could have one tennis ball and a massive big concrete wrecking ball, both at the same temperature, and one will just bounce off and one will smash in, which immediately just breaks that.
Yeah.
But they didn't have it. They just
no. It's just for me. It's just desperation and this, active avoidance. He knows fine well what I'm saying. It's this use of language all the time, pulling and attracting, and that you've got to define the interaction between them. Somebody's asking her about magnets and fields and stuff like that. Well, that's what we're talking about. Are we submerged within a body of something like an ether or these things that people talk about, and objects within it are warping and distorting it? And if they're made of certain crystalline structures and geometric, shapes and whatever else, they have different effects on that ether, that body that we're submerged within. It has to be something like that.
Yeah, the whole history of gravity tells that exact tale, though. It's basically, first off, if we go back to Newton thought it was connected to the ether. So he said action at a distance. His action at a distance was the ether in between the Earth and the Sun, and connected us all. But then you go to the Michelson-Morley experiment. They experimented on the ether, but it showed that the Earth was at zero velocity. So they had to change tact.
Linear velocity. Like going across the way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And then you went to Einstein, that it was a complete inversion of what it is. Instead of it being a particle force, it's an actual geometry of this bending something. And throughout all of his history, you can look him up, and all these globers that say, ether was deleted out of the system as soon as the Michelson-Morley. If you look at the original paper, at the end of it, it doesn't conclude that it didn't exist. It concluded it was different as to the way Lorentz had described it. Basically, it wasn't static, it was dynamic. So it wasn't attached like, let's say, the atmosphere. It moved. And so, I mean, in I think it was 1922, Einstein was in the University of Leiden, where Lorentz was a professor. And he done an actual lecture called Ether and Relativity, of which he says in there, according to relativity, space without ether is unthinkable. And he's always forever through his works talking there must be a properties for the medium,
of
but
course.
could never fully explain it, as no one could.
You can't have any region of no thing. It's just preposterous for anybody to try and assert an area of no thing. It's the same with other atoms and electrons, and it's empty space. What? A region of nothing? Fuck off. These people are lunatics.
It's got to be the energy of call it what you want. Energy of God, energy of what started everything, energy of life,
prime
whatever.
That's it.
All the same thing, and it's without it, we wouldn't be able to, or matter wouldn't be able to form.
No.
And gradients wouldn't be able to exist, and stuff like that, and exactly that. They can't describe this magical force of gravity.
No.
But then fast forward to 1951, you've got Paul Dirac, who invented quantum electrodynamics, or was the father of it. And he done a paper in Nature saying, is there an ether? And right at the end of the paper, clearly concludes saying, look, according and conforming with relativity and quantum mechanics, we are forced to have an ether. We have to completely change our theoretical idea of a vacuum.
But you don't need to be one of these guys. You can just apply common sense and deduction and having a look at things to understand that, these people are just clearly, invoking a space of an area where there's nothing. And that just doesn't work. That's your common sense tells you it's ridiculous. You don't need to read all these papers. I didn't need to read all these papers to arrive at that.
It's standard. It's what happens with everything. Fluid mechanics, hydrostatics, all the way through. All electricity is perfectly likened to water. So current and flow and differential.
And it's all happening within the body, which is the water.
Yeah, that's it. And exactly, we're run by electrostatics. We send a message from our brain to move our body and speak. And it's, I don't know, everything among that force, let's say the electromagnetic, electrostatic, which are basically arm in arm, come together. Everything in that force seems real. And then this gravity force seems to have changed so many times, still doesn't work, dark matter and all this other stuff. I mean, black holes in the first place were there because gravity couldn't explain why all stars were moving around this hole.
Yeah.
And again, it's like the definition of a hole. And there's been this massive argument for years between Hawkins and Leonard Susskind of what happens when it goes in this hole. And it's like, and imagine, okay, there is a hole there. You can detect that there is something there, but it's like a massive discussion, a mathematical discussion on nothing. You're never going to be able to prove anything about it.
Well, what happens when you go to the centre of a vortex and it's moving in a body of water?
Yeah, exactly that.
It comes to a point and it goes back to the body again, I mean.
Yeah, I see it as if you look at a toroid field and then from a side it looks like an apple, let's say. Yeah, but if you're looking from core upwards, from down upwards, and you're seeing the core, that's the internal sort of like hourglass shape.
Yeah.
And that's just like a hole.
Yeah.
And that'll just, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a hole. It is just a place where magnetism is highly concentrated and light don't get through. That's all it is, just light's missing.
So this is why, obviously, for me, they needed the Einsteinian warping shite and bending of a non-existent fucking, substance, which, you know, the warping and bending of space-time, you could just say the warping and bending of the ether. You could just as well have said that. And again, you know, it's the same with the Big Bang. They understand that, you know, density, weight, all needs an initial push source. So this, for me, is why they would have had to come in with the Big Bang nonsense, because you have to have some initial force that was applied to put everything into motion. Now, theirs is fucked with their spinning and all this fucking gobbledygook. But this is the point as well that I want to highlight to people. You know, I spoke about, you know, about why it makes more sense deductively, logically, when you start applying this, taking their claims of the void, what gives something direction in a medium that's a vacuum, you know, an empty, infinite, three-dimensional space. How do you get weight? How do you get direction in these things? You need something to come into contact with it, to press against it and put it into motion. Then you've got resistance, you've got weight, you've got direction, yada yada. Right. So when I spoke about that thing just showing, it was just basically a twos up to the globe. Right. Everybody's up in arms about the Flat Earth Society and all the Earth's moving uniformly in this direction as if it's that preposterous. Right. But hold on a minute. We've just came from a belief that's saying that the Earth's spinning 1,000 miles an hour, while doing 65,000 miles an hour around the sun, while the sun's doing 500,000 miles an hour. But uniform, you know, straight line motions is preposterous. I don't bloody well think so.
Well, that's not quite what the Flat Earth Society says. They say the Earth's accelerating at a constant rate.
You know what I mean? I'm not quoting what I'm saying, you know, the Flat Earth Society verbatim. It's just the concept of what they're talking about.
Well, the concept is the acceleration, because constant velocity doesn't result in a force.
How does it know? But we'll talk to strip it right back, Louis, because you're talking about a three-dimensional area, a void, right? So you don't have any direction. So just pick up an object right now and imagine that's suspended in the void, right? Where does it get weight and where does it get direction?
Well, ostensibly, it would be getting it from the acceleration.
No, listen. Why does it have to continually accelerate?
Because once it's in constant motion, like at a constant velocity, there's no longer a force being applied to it. It's just its momentum at that point.
But it's constantly coming into contact with it.
So, I mean, you're constantly in contact with your car when you're sitting in your car, but you don't always feel like you're being pressed.
That's linear. You're talking within the reference frame. I'm talking about the main reference frame. You're now invoking a situation within the reference frame which is linear, going across the way. So you need constant acceleration in order to feel the G-force. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about it coming from beneath your feet. Okay.
Right, and you're in the same reference frame in that situation too.
So turn the car vertical.
Okay.
And the car now moves at 21 miles an hour constantly. You've got a direction for down, and the car's constantly coming to meet you, to resist you, so your weight remains the same.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I'm talking about.
Ostensibly, that's what the acceleration is supposed to explain.
But doesn't it accelerate continually, though?
That's what the Flat Earth Society is saying.
I'm not the Flat Earth Society,
accelerating upwards, and that's why
I'm not interested. I'm not interested in the Flat Earth Society. That's not what I'm claiming or talking about. You're telling me that
you were though. You brought it up.
No. You came in and said it, and then asserted that it would constantly have to accelerate, and I've just showed you it doesn't have to keep accelerating.
You brought it up, Del.
That's right. I did bring it up.
Yeah, I was fixing it. You weren't representing the Flat Earth Society's position.
I don't represent the Flat Earth Society.
Yeah, you did.
No, I don't represent the Flat Earth Society.
You said, no, you don't, but you brought their position up, and when you expressed what their position was, you misrepresented it.
No, I'm talking about my position and my understanding. That's what I'm talking about. Did I come on here and say, the Flat Earth Society says this and I believe it and this is what's happening? No, I didn't.
You said it's not that absurd to believe that when you come from the spinning ball and then you started citing all the numbers about the sun and the earth and the galaxy.
And it's but it doesn't have to keep accelerating.
In order for you to feel a force, yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. It can be unit. Okay. Do it vertically, Lou. Have you ever stood in a lift? And the lift moves at uniform motion. It's constantly in contact with your feet, resisting you, and you're resisting it.
Yeah, so is gravity.
Oh.
The explanation for why we listen. The explanation for why we feel the force in the heliocentric model is gravity. The explanation for why we feel that force
So
in the
here we go. Louis new in here.
Acceleration upward.
Louis new in here. All right. So how does gravity work, Louis? What's it doing to objects?
That's not what we're talking about.
What does gravity do to objects, Louis?
Representation of the flat Earth model.
No. I'm talking about my contemplations and where I've arrived at. I'm no part of this flat Earth society.
That yet.
Listen. You're in a void, okay? And you've got no weight. You have no direction. No surface.
This your model right now?
No, this is just me talking. This is me talking about your belief about the vacuum of space. So you've got a single object in there. It's got no weight and it has no direction. Now you need to bring some other factor into it. You have to bring something in that comes into contact with it and presses against it. So it can be a set rate, 21 miles an hour if you like. So it comes into contact with it, it's a steady 21 miles an hour and continually pushes against it.
No, it doesn't. Because it has inertia. Once it comes in contact with me and I start moving 21 miles an hour, we're both just there moving 21 miles an hour.
No, you're talking again linear. If you just keep moving 21 miles an hour up the way, if you move 1 mile an hour up the way...
Okay, great, moving up. You already said there's no direction, so it doesn't matter if it's up or left or down, there's no direction.
It's really important, because how you get in direction in the first place. So let's just get back to your heliocentric nonsense. How does gravity work?
So we're not talking about the empty void.
How does gravity work?
Well, ostensibly, objects that have mass are attracted to each other.
What does attract mean?
They want to move towards each other.
How?
I don't know. That's ostensibly
so you
the
don't
way
know,
it works.
but you believe it all, but you don't know how it works.
Well, it doesn't matter if I believe it. That's what the model says. That's what the definition of gravity is.
And it's a nonsensical, idiotic model. What I'm asking for people,
for you to believe.
You believe it. So I'm asking you then. Well,
it's great, yeah.
So what's the mechanics of the interaction between two objects, of them being attracted to each other? Right. So you don't have a fucking clue then. What are you talking about?
I don't know why gravity exists, but that is the explanation for why things move towards the Earth. That's the explanation for why the Cavendish experiment occurs the way it does. It's the explanation for why things revolve around the sun.
Using words like they're attracted and they're pulling each other, which is nonsense.
Oh, is it?
Of course it is. Well, you define what that means to me then, and tell me how they interact with each other.
I don't know.
Right, so it's nonsense.
It's a force. How does
nonsense.
Magnetism work? I don't know. But
see, the thing is, Louis, I can deduce from every other practical example that you need something pressing on something else in order to achieve motion. That's how it works.
No, you can't.
How
does magnetism work?
I'm not certain about that stuff, though.
How does magnetism work?
I'm deducing and getting into magnetism.
What's pressing on something with magnets? What's going on there?
Well, it could be a warping of the ether.
Yeah, so that's not pressing.
It's a flow. It's a flow of something.
It's not pressing, is it?
Well, what about if I've got a cog, right, and I've got a magnetic ratchet, okay, and I move it in that direction, and the cog responds as if it's connected like a chain, and it moves in that direction. Then I move it in the other direction, and it moves the opposite direction. There's obviously a flow of something, so something's pushing on something else.
Yeah, in that situation, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not disagreeing there.
Right. So what's pull and attract then?
It's just those are just relative terms to a person.
So it's not mechanical. There's no physics to it. It's just nonsense.
What are you talking? Okay, great.
Louis, fuck off. You're lost, son. You have not got a clue. You're now stumped because you know what I'm asking.
What do I not have a clue about?
What does pull and attract mean?
Pull means like you move something towards you with your arms.
So what's the physicality of that then? Where's the pressure being applied? Where's the force being applied to make that happen?
On objects, no one's talking about gravity as if I'm pulling on shit invisibly.
So how does it work then? Is it get tentacles that attaches onto objects?
Well, the theory is, which I've told you this before, that matter, the stuff that the universe is made of, attracts.
But they just keep saying it. How is it making that happen? Is it getting invisible tentacles? Listen.
I don't know.
Well,
Del,
listen, Louis. This is your options. Here's your options.
Why.
Here's your options based on actual reality. It's either getting invisible tentacles with suckers on the end of them that attach to other objects and draw them inwards, right? Or it's going round the back of them and pushing them for the back. So what is it? Take your pick.
I don't know.
Right, you're done. See you later.
Oh, I'm done. We're not even talking about the same things here.
Aye, we are. You're just dancing, son. You're dancing.
Okay.
Of course you are. So describe the mechanics of pull and attract then.
In the context of gravity, it doesn't fit into the context of gravity, which is what we were talking about.
That's because
you
it's
have a lot of trouble keeping up with the conversation.
That's just because it's an abstract theory. That's just because it's abstract imagination stuffs. It's got nothing to do with reality and how reality actually functions.
Yeah, it does. It has something to
Okay, so how is gravity affecting other objects then?
It causes things to move down.
How?
It does.
How?
It's a fact. Hold on.
How though?
It's a fact.
Stop just saying it does. It does. It does. It does. How is it doing that? How is it doing that?
If you want to listen to me, that's great. If
explain
not, just kick me out
how gravity is doing that.
Can I try and explain it? The action of dropping and moving down without gravity.
Yeah, that'd be great.
No, Gleam.
And then you try and counter it.
No, just wait a minute, Gleam, because I'm just wanting to highlight this here with this nonsense. So, Louis, are you going to concede that pull and attract has no physicality? It's no a thing.
No.
Well, what is it then?
It's physicality.
How is it physically? How is two objects physically interacting with each other in regards to pull and attract? You describe that to me.
When I pick something up, I'm pulling it.
No, you're applying a pressure to it.
I'm physically pulling it.
Yeah, you're applying a pressure.
That means I'm applying a force to it.
Pressure.
And moving it towards myself.
You're applying
That's
pressure.
What it means. I don't know if you know what physicality means.
You're applying pressure.
I'm pretty sure touching something and pulling it towards you
is
applying
physicality. The physicality, the interactions of the substances is that you're applying a pressure in order to make it move.
Yes.
So that's not what so is gravity doing that?
No.
Right? So what's it doing then?
I don't know.
Exactly. So why do you keep invoking it?
I don't know the mechanism that causes gravity to work. Gravity is simply the explanation for why things move towards the Earth. It's no. It is that simple.
Listen, but that's where the problem is, because how objects move is totally separate for the explanations. That's where the problem is with the heliocentric bullshit. Right? Because when I'm asking you to explain the interactions between them, you've got a blank stare in your face.
I'm not really understanding what your objection is.
Because it's asserted
I guess that you don't accept the explanation. That's fine.
No,
if
I don't
you don't
accept
it and you think it's wrong, maybe you could be a little bit more articulate.
I'm being perfectly articulate. It's you that's trying hard not to get it because you know what I'm saying. Right? I know the mechanical interaction between objects in order to achieve motion and acceleration, that being an applied pressure, something pushing and pressing on something else, right?
Yep.
So you're saying gravity doesn't do that, it pulls stuff. I'm asking you to describe what that is.
There are 4 fundamental forces in nature.
No, Louis.
Louis. Oh, you don't want to hear about that? Oh, okay, I got it.
No, because you're just a dancing. You're dancing again.
No, it's not a dance.
You don't know what pull and attract is. It's nonsensical jargon.
This is the explanation
Shut up.
You're looking for. You just don't want to hear it.
Shut up.
You don't, I mean, it is what it is, man.
Define pull and attract, Louis.
We've already been down this line.
No, because you just keep dancing and I'm just going to keep making a cunt of you.
I mean, I don't see it that way. I know a lot of your viewers probably do see it that way.
That's because they're clever. That's because they know what's being said here and they can see how idiotic and dishonest you are.
We agree on the words that are being said.
You are seriously dishonest,
on the meaning of the words.
Describe, attract, and pull.
Pull is like when you touch something and you wrap your fingers around it like a door.
And press on it and apply a pressure, right? Yeah. Is that how gravity works?
No.
Right, so how does it work?
I don't know.
So it must be something like that, Louis. Are you disagreeing?
Why must it be?
Well, how can you bring something else towards something else without some sort of interaction between the two of them?
I don't know.
Oh, get the fuck.
You know about magnets?
See you later. Gleam, I apologise to you, Gleam. I'm just shutting that down because I can't be fucking around in circles with dicks. See again how easy it is. It's just that easy. Ask them to define what they're talking about. Can he? So far, you know, based on Louis, he understands that you need to put a pressure on something in order to move it. But that's not what gravity's doing. So you ask the question, well, how's it making stuff move then? We're back to this again. Magical stuff. Imagination. Right, over there 10 minutes, we'll try again. Well, this is it, selling early, and this is what I'm saying about separating the wheat for the chaff now. You can really see the ones that are on task, that are actively being dishonest and trying to obfuscate and avoid honest discussion. I don't have any tolerance for them, David Marks. They're just useful idiots to me. That doesn't mean to say I tolerate them. I use them. They're useful. To be able to show people how weak and pathetic this drivel is. Wolfgang, that's what they're doing. They're dishonest, so I'm going to use them. I'm going to use them and highlight their lies. Don't try and make victims out of them. They're actively lying. Well, that sound part master, they don't have any explanations. They're just, you've heard it. It's no pressure, it's no something pressing on something else. How does it work? Don't know. Well, what are you running about telling everybody that it's pulling stuff to the centre of it and that it's bending oceans and all this fucking crap for then and holding air onto it while it's flying about a vacuum? It's almost like, you know, like draining a body of water, right? And you've got a grate there that can catch everything. You know, that's probably better. I don't know why they didn't utilise something like that for their gravity. Or it's like a flow or something going in the way and everything's being pushed in there, but yet it meets resistance for the mesh or the grate, and that's what stops it and resists it, so now it's got weight and direction. I should have been fucking part of their deceptive pish. I could come up with a lot better than the drivel they've come up with.
Hello, Del.
What do you fucking want?
I was going to say, Lewis done very well.
Shut the fuck up, you utter clown.
I've not been rude to you, have I?
Louis a moron. Show you.
No, he's not. He's a Ball Earth believer.
He's a moron. He's a he just displayed it.
No, he has some good points.
Does gravity apply a pressure to stuff, Skyfly Bry?
It's a pulling pressure, yes.
How does it do that?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows what gravity
Right,
is.
so fuck off, fantasist. Go away to your imagination land in your circle jerk with Louis. Away you go, you fucking crackpot. I don't want you here.
Right, you can rust in your shed.
Bye.
I'll go. I'm gonna go. Fuck it. It's like talking to an idiot.
Bye. Get them all dancing, man. Fucking get the arrows stuck into these clowns. Why is everybody not just fucking jumping on them? Watch them flap. Wolfgang, have you got a description of the mechanics of pulling a tract and all that? No, don't think so. See, this is the crux here. Something has to be applying a pressure, which is a force, to something else in order to make it move. 100% of the time. Not when it comes to gravity. It doesn't got that. It's not attaching onto stuff, and it's not getting in the back of stuff. So how is it making it move then? Is it like water going down a drain, and the drain bit is the resistance so that matter and solid things get stuck in it? And while all that's rushing in, it's applying a pressure on them, which is holding it down. I mean, that would work. That would be much more feasible than saying, no, there's no pressure anywhere, there's nothing pressing on anything else, and then being asked, well, how is it making stuff move then, and going, I don't know. Then I turn and see like a black hole. So they could have said at the centre of the earth it's like a black hole and that everything's rushing in there. But the earth's actually just made up of materials and particulates that have compressed there because it's, you know, everything's pushing into this whole thing. Right? So everything's pushing into the hole. All the particulates are gathering up, they're being compressed, and that's what we've got. We've got an earth now that we can stand upon. Well, all this stuff's still rushing into the fucking centre. That would have made much more sense. I guess they're just not that bright, these fucking liars. Again, I'm sick of telling them. They wanted to get better personnel. You've obviously not got sharp enough tools out there. They're thick as fuck. And it's easy to shred it and break it apart. Idiotic wankers. Did I post that? Recruit from army rejects. I think some of them are, but I think the majority of these clowns are just, you know, on tinterwebs touching themselves to stuff they shouldn't be or something. You know? They're too fucking thick. A lot of them are military, ex-military. Aye, Dave, can shit in their wee Superman pants. Hey, George. Yeah, they are on task, Ballface Liar. That's what I'm saying. If you just know how to fucking hod them to you and question them properly, they'll display it. They'll get no option. So why are people actively trying to be that dishonest? There's no need for it. Right, I think that's us, people. We're getting anybody joining, so hopefully you get use out of any of this. As I say, the only reason I entertain any of these clowns for any more than 5 minutes is just because they're useful idiots. And that's all. They're liars, and they're representing bullshit, fantasy, fairy tale, nonsensical drivel. And if you understand their language and you understand how to question it properly, you'll expose them. So hopefully that's of use to whoever. Anyway, as I say, if anybody can donate to the funeral fund for Des, please do so. I'll be active again at the end of this week coming with the university stuff, and I'm also going to be on the other channel, which is True Expressions. I'm just going to be on there a couple of nights a week, probably just as a wee chill out, general chit chat. Probably offer up some, wee aspects of guitar that might be useful for beginners, intermediate players, whatever. I'll try and cover the whole spectrum. You've also got guys there like Des Sherwood, but I'll share more of that on the other channel if anybody's interested in that. It's just a social aspect, it's not going to be any of this. Although we can have conversations about anything, but it's predominantly just going to be, whatever. Chit chat, bit of guitar playing, drink some tea, whatever. So, anywho, thank you very much. Mods is always much appreciated. I'll see you all very soon. Take care.